Good morning, everyone. That song is a misnomer. It is cold outside. Good morning to everyone that is in bed with us this morning, that is going to stay inside, is going to stay warm because it is 35 below, according to the wind chill outside. I can't recall another time in a while. I mean, this might be back when I was walking up, 4 miles of hills and stuff to get to the one-room schoolhouse.
Barefooted.
That has been this cold. But good morning, everyone. We are all here for you while you're in bed, snuggled up nice and warm.
You got the beanie on? Looks good.
It's all about warmth. I don't care about style today. It's all about warmth.
Layers.
But for people that have to be out, and as we look out from our vantage point onto Dodge, there's some cars. The roads aren't bad. So my drive, my commute's much smaller than yours, both of you. I came from Exarban Village, and the roads were really in great shape. Now, it helps that we're on the edge of the campus, so that usually gets plowed out pretty quickly. But the roads were pretty good. It was just me and the plow drivers, and they are everywhere. So kudos to them because they are working overtime. But, come on. We have to remind people it's that time of the year. You know how to drive in these conditions, but it doesn't appear to be like snow-wise on the roads that bad. But temperature-wise, brutal.
Did you ever get the parental advice when you were young? Well, yeah, you would have, growing up in Iowa, that the gas tank thing.
Remember, I just grew up in Iowa, didn't settle for Iowa.
Okay, I'm just saying. In cold weather, you make sure that the gas tank is at a respectable level, because if it wasn't, I was always told, which now being older, I realized that was impossible. But hey, if it's below a quarter, it could freeze up.
I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
Like all the little tips that your mom and dad would give you.
Like, freeze up.
Ah.
Today would be one of those days, right? But in reality, if your car breaks down, that's a better reason to, if, say, you get in a bad traffic jam or something happens and you're forced to be in your car and you would happen to run out of gas. Now, that would actually make sense. But, yeah, the whole gas freezing thing, I can't remember what the number is. But doesn't it have to be like minus like 250 or something like that for gasoline to actually freeze up?
I don't know that I'd be around for that. If it dropped to 250 below, I don't know that I would partake in that. I might just, I might sit that one out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Nice.
But if you are going outside, bundle up. The conditions, again, driving-wise, doesn't appear to be that bad.
Could have been much worse.
But make sure you have wiper fluid. I guess there was a run on wiper fluid yesterday. Run on wiper fluid and hotel rooms along I-80 that were booked up. The people were smart and don't want to travel on the interstate because, like yesterday, today will be another busy day going into the Christmas weekend. But it is wicked out there. We all made it in. I'm glad. We don't really have the TV stations in this town. They're all kind of located near a hotel or two. So they worry about like their morning show getting in. And so they'll put them up in a hotel. I think Channel 6, they got the Cottonwood, the beautiful Cottonwood right across the street. I think they put their morning team up in the Cottonwood so that they would not miss the Thursday morning show.
Are you tempted to kind of have, hotel, after hours partying, whatnot? I mean, I know you got to wake up really early, especially
hit
in TV.
Up the hotel bar.
Yeah.
Like the TV people, because they got to do
like a little vacation.
They got to look good on air, and they go on at 4:30. They're in like at 2:30.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the advantage of being in a hotel other than you're close. Like you couldn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, my wife once did that.
Hey, they have
about 2:30.
They have comfy beds there. I've stayed numerous nights there. I got a good steakhouse and comfy beds and a good pool spot during the summer.
Don't you always feel like a hotel is sort of a little vacation? I mean, it kind of is. It's a vacation from your normal setup, and so sometimes you want to act accordingly, I guess.
You and the wife never done a staycation here in Omaha? You've gone
in Omaha.
You've gone to the American Inn?
It'd be a step.
Or you've gone to the $45 hotel that says right on the sign in Council Bluffs?
A little seedy set up there. No, never in Omaha or in the metro area. Now we did a Lincoln one time, but
yeah, that's a nice little getaway for the Handleys.
Yeah,
long drive. Whew.
Did little breweries.
Okay,
did some breweries out there, and we were going to drive back.
That's
stayed over in the rail yard or the Embassy Suites.
Nice pick.
Yeah,
nice job.
Thank you.
Right. So welcome in everybody on this Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley. We've got a great lineup for you. Steve Sipple will join us the morning after the early signing period got underway. We also have Ask Us Anything today, and Brian Edwards will help you win some money. We do have NFL football tonight.
Take the under.
We'll talk later. Yeah, the Jets and the Jags are playing. You got Trevor Lawrence against Zach Wilson. Feel probably better if it was Trevor Lawrence against Mike White, but the Jets at home are a slight favorite. We also have basketball tonight. Creighton Butler going to play downtown in must-win game for Creighton.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ryan Kalkbrenner will be back.
That's good, and I feel like you have an opportunity to have more people because the storm, the cold is, as we talked about, but the storm that was expected, nothing really there. So I think they could have a little bit better crowd tonight.
Less snow, more cold.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
But you got to walk in. I get
Absolutely.
it. Walking into the chai is not going to be fun.
Also, a good morning to everyone that is waking up with us, and you're still fully husked from yesterday and hearing Matt Rule speak about his recruiting class that he put together in 3 weeks or kept together. The day after signing day, there are winners and losers. I hate that because you have no idea. You wonder how some programs got their recruiting class. You could tell, like, for example, Oregon. Oregon has recruited well, and it's a very flashy place. And you got a guy that has an SEC background and comes from the Kirby Smart coaching tree and Dan Lanning. And Oregon had a monster day yesterday. Oregon did a lot of flipping. Oregon also has a very solid collective, which also helped. But the signing class is kind of in the books. There's a couple to go. But the biggest takeaway, as I listened to Matt Rule, and here's the thing about this recruiting class, and I'm intrigued because they didn't reach, and he kind of alluded to that, Nick. He said, we got guys that we wanted. Because probably in your first recruiting class, when you take over and you're on a 3-week sprint, you're probably, I would say on average, your hit rate is 40 to 45%, which is not great. You would like it to be more into the 60, 65-ish hit rate on your first recruiting class. And then you go from there when you get a full year, like they will to put together the 24 class to recruit. But what they were able to put together, I don't think anybody can deny that you're intrigued. You could say, well, it gives me some hope, and I'm curious because of the kind of prospects that were added to the class. Look at this class and then look at them from 2 years from now. And Matt Rule falls under this category with Beyond You. Dan Lanning they've shown that they can recruit really well. Like Nick Saban is, aside from this conversation, can they cook the food? They got the ingredients. Can they cook the food? That's now like the next question for Matt Rule. But as I listened to him yesterday, and everybody knows that he's a great orator, and you know his background, and you see that he is very comfortable speaking and answering questions on the fly, and he doesn't waste a lot of words. So he's got a plan when he speaks, and I can see why when he gets an in-home visit or gets somebody on campus, how he can be very persuasive when it comes to recruiting, because he can be smooth, and that might not always appeal to people like that's a used car salesman. But I think that's just his delivery. I think that's kind of how he is. I mean, we're going to have to get to know him a little bit more to understand that's just who Matt Rule is. But you can tell yesterday, and I said this when he got hired, and you weren't with us, Nick. He's got like some unfinished business. He's got the bad taste of the Panthers in his mouth. He's also got, you were on the cusp of going to the playoff in the Big 12 in 2019. So he's now at a place that gives him some tools to start that climb back. So in a short amount of time, I think I can see he's got passion for the product at Nebraska. But the other thing that I was really, really impressed by, and he hasn't, this is only the second time really publicly he has spoken, is there is very little about himself. He doesn't talk about himself very much, which is, we're a little scorned around here because the previous guy, there was a lot of about myself. Matt Rule hasn't talked much about himself. And yesterday was not about himself, and it would have been easy, though, to insert yourself into the conversation. Yeah. He did not. That was just, maybe that's me being quirky, but that was one of the takeaways I got yesterday is he doesn't insert himself into a lot of the conversations about Nebraska football, even though he is the buck stops here guy.
Yeah, well, the thing that I picked up on, first of all, I think the word elite was used four or five times if you count at home. Elite priority recruit in Texas. Elite was thrown out there a lot. The one thing I picked up on, it was very consistent to what we've heard in the recruiting visits when it comes to the family atmosphere. And kind of to your point about not talking about himself, talking a lot about his assistant coaches, giving them all the praise, but also their families too. And look, I've been sort of boxed into these press conferences with just Nebraska coaches. I don't know if that's commonplace, but I feel like he does push a lot of the right buttons. If your overall theme and overall comfort level, he said something yesterday that I thought was something I'm not used to hearing when it came to maybe just the recruiting philosophy of, I get the coaches and the families involved, because if we're trying to convince a young kid from Texas or from Florida or from California or from New Jersey or, PA to come over here, well, here's our coaching staff. Here's some guys that are actually turning down NFL jobs, leaving NFL jobs to come follow me because they believe in me. So we're hoping that resonates with the student athlete. And I think when you simplify it like that, yeah, it's easy to kind of follow that. It's easy to kind of understand what he's saying. But again, it kind of comes back to maybe more of the why when it comes to introducing the entire family and using, maybe using is the wrong word, but introducing, Cooper's family, introducing Foley's family, Satterfield's family to the recruits and their families too, because, hey, they followed us. We hope that you can trust us as well. And I can appreciate that. I can see, what you're trying to sell there without coming across as, a true salesman. So there's just interesting things you pick up. I mean, I remember during the introductory press conference, there's a lot of interesting things that you pick up when he does talk. But for a guy that, is not flipping through note cards, he just seems to know exactly where he wants to go with each topic, with each angle, with each question. It's almost as if all of the press pool that was there yesterday had submitted questions in advance, because I thought the way that he answered them is very consistent with his personality. And it's a guy that when he first was hired, I know some of the pushback for people that were maybe not necessarily Matt Rule fans was, is just sort of a gravy train opportunity for him. Is he really going to be into this? And everything that I've seen, and I never thought that, but everything that I've seen would lead me to the contrary, that not only does he want to be here, and I think you bring up an interesting point too, of maybe some unfinished business, but he's fully prepared. He's got a plan. He's trying to follow that by the letter right now. And I think he got a little taste of that yesterday as well.
Yeah, he is super confident. His entire staff is, I'm going to continue to use the word uber confident in their delivery and their plan and what they're going to do. He's also, this is going to take a little bit for us to get used to from his delivery and his mindset, is he's always recruiting. Subtly or not, he is always recruiting in things that he will say, whether it be approaching a question about quarterbacks, how he's always handled quarterbacks and their development, or, dropping subtle things about hanging out with a recruit that is now signed with you, or a 24.
24, yeah.
Who that might be, a Texas tight end named Ian Flint, who is in the class of 24. He is always recruiting. And that's something that we haven't really, because you really haven't had somebody who's kind of got his kind of delivery around here for a while, but he is always recruiting, nonstop recruiting. Now, the morning after, he announces recruiting class, and we'll continue to add to it, because there's going to be some guys drop off. I mean, they added 27 yesterday. You got guys that are in the portal. They have until January 18th. Everybody's going to want this. Bear with me. And I know I welcome people by saying, hey, you're in bed, you're enjoying us. It's warm, stay in bed. Now people want Matt Rule to transition to giving us the D. They want that's now the next step, is you tell us and you accumulate talent, is now develop. And that's where I go back to the question, and it's a fair question until it is answered on a consistent basis here. And it's not just the head coach, it'll be all of his position coaches, is, can you cook the food? Can you cook the food? That's the next step that we don't know about, because we've never seen like a class like this where the D word has been used nonstop. Trust me, we develop guys. That's a developmental guy. Okay. Now, can you cook the food?
Yeah. Well, and
can you cook the food with this accumulation of players? I would say in the next 2 years, we're gonna have a pretty good sense of where guys are headed. That doesn't mean they have to be starters, have to be on the field for 80%, but have to be moving in the right direction as a whole. And then you can say, yep, he can cook the food.
Well, let's get back to confidence then from Matt Rule. And again, yesterday, he hit on something that I thought was telling. I know some people ran with it and were like, whoa, can you believe he said that? Or this is, are we already putting this expectation out there? But his view on the offensive line, I don't expect him to be like, yeah, the narrative's true. This offensive line is garbage. But he went the exact opposite. He said, I want to stop you for a moment and sort of address maybe things that I've been hearing about this offensive line. And he's very confident the offensive line will be better. He brought up some interesting things about the offensive line maybe be put in a bad position, fully knowing what their offensive identity is going to be and allowing those guys to essentially lean into that. And that's where I start to think about the D word, the development. Okay, that's fine. It sounds good. But I did think it was interesting that he not necessarily avoided the struggles of the offensive line, but he went all in defense mode on that group. And I think you're doing that for two reasons. One, you understand that's what a lot of people want to know about when it comes to development. How's the offensive line going to get better? So I think he understood that that's a big concern from a lot of people that watch this football program. But I think the other part about it is if you bring that up so early in this process, as you're not only getting some offensive line recruits, but you're also answering the question of why Donovan Raiola. And he talked about Harry Heastan, which I've always felt like that's got to be an intriguing thing for Donovan Raiola. It's got to be something that you're always going to use as, if you're Donovan, as a big part of your resume. But I think he does feel confident between Donovan and himself with the guys they have and the guys that they will continue to develop, that this group can look better. Now, I'm sure a lot more people are in the boat of, I'll believe that when I see it, but I thought it was interesting, his approach there on why to be so adamant that no, they're not the problem and they're going to be better this year.
We'll get into that because my read is a little bit different on the way he approached the offensive line. He's the buck stops with him guy, and he has to own all of his staff. But that offensive line is also a program that has not had an All-American offensive line since Finoti in 2001. Nebraska will take the field next year, and it's been 22 years since they had a All-American offensive lineman. Where 95, 96, 97, then they kind of turned it over, and then 2000, 2001 are the last 5 years of a stretch where Nebraska had an All-American offensive lineman. So that's what he's up against, and he's up against all of us that watched a lot of football last year going, okay, explain to me what you see that we don't.
Yeah.
I have a different approach to that, but we'll get into it because I thought that was interesting that he went there, but got to remember, and here's where the trust part comes about, is these hires are his. He has to own any hire. And we kind of get a sense that there's more accountability, head coach to position coach back to head coach. And there will be a lot of let's hold people accountable, I believe, on the offensive line, where he also didn't get the sense he intimated a little bit. And we discussed this when Donnie was retained. Matt Rule is going to be basically the co-offensive line coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
and
if I'm going to own it and say it, I'm going to get my fingers and my hands dirty by getting in it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And where you cannot say, well, that was on. No, I was there as well.
It's kind of like the Bo Papuchis dynamic, if you will, where I know a lot of fans want to get on Papuchis, but it's like, this is still Bo's scheme. Bo has a major hand in it and a major hand in developing too.
Often running again. It is really, really brutally cold outside. The wind chill has now dropped to 34 below here in Omaha. But take it slow. Traffic is starting to pick up. Looking here on Dodge, but the plows are out. Good on them.
Yeah,
lots of them.
They are everywhere. So kudos to them because they're usually the first ones that get cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there were better plowing the streets because the mayor's out of town.
No,
no.
Are you slide that right in there?
I mean, yeah. If you're looking for a common denominator,
I don't know.
They were out in droves, man. It was like 5-1, 5 plows for every car that I saw on the way in. That was great.
It's a big game. They're ready for it.
You have thoughts on what transpired yesterday? Because after we were off the air, Malachi Coleman said yes. Some guys said no. There were really no major surprises. We will discuss in depth with all of you, 951-1620. You can always email Nick or myself on the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com, Handley at 1620thezone.com, or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620, at Nick Handley 1620. Also a reminder, coming up, this is the final Ask Us Anything before Christmas, because the entire station is off until the 3rd after Friday's shows. So no more Ask Us Anything. This is the last, just blow it out, off the wall questions to win, which would be nice. You got the kids are back from college, or you got friends in town. You want to go out for dinner. This is a very, I should say,
you want to escape
healthy,
the kids?
Yeah, healthy gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill that is on the line for the best question and Ask Us Anything. Send your questions to Jimmy at 1620thezone.com.
Bar was said hi last week. What could it be this week?
How would you rate your first go around?
It was I thought it was very easy until that last one about the porn question, the style of porn, or the describing a vivid dream of your boss. Yeah, that caught me off guard.
Since then, have you had a vivid dream of your new boss?
I have not.
It's probably a good thing. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but just saying it's probably a good thing.
Yeah,
for you.
Well, I wouldn't vividly describe it if I did. Okay.
So
you'll never know.
Your wife appreciates that as
she
well.
Does.
If you do, the 6 o'clock hour is a safe space for all of us.
Off and rolling. Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Tools Blueprint works. We've seen it. Can it work in this format? When you make chocolate chip cookies, you follow the recipe to the letter if you want them to turn out the same every time. Or if the kitchen's a little different, the oven's a little different, don't have, the exact same ingredients, you might have to tweak to get good results. Because the transfer portal and NIL has changed a lot of what people can do.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from a Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Windy and extremely cold Thursday. Wind chill warning remains in effect throughout the day. Watch out for areas of blowing snow with northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. Afternoon highs will stay below zero with wind chills 30 to 40 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some major slowdowns from 108th to 96th along L Street. Then on Center, you can expect some significant delays from 175th to 160th. Then all along east and westbound I-80, you can be prepared for some significant slowdowns there as well. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $893 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Tonight, the Blue Jays are back at home as they open up the Big East home schedule against the Butler Bulldogs. Ravi Lula pregame coverage begins at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 7. The Creighton Blue Jays, tonight on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hey, Tapper for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers exactly what they asked for. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets when you sign up with promo code HAPPER. That's $2,500 back if your first bet doesn't win, and right now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot because the app, it's really easy to use. There's great promotions on there all the time. When you win, you get paid out quickly. There's also the great odds boost, which I love, live betting for NFL Sundays, NBA game days. How about Christmas in the NBA and anything in between? That's just scratching the surface on some of the reasons why FanDuel is the best. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and get in the holiday spirit with a no sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets from Santa Barkley when you sign up with promo code HAPPER. 21 and over, present in Iowa, first online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
Funplex has a limited time offer that'll deck your halls. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Save big through Christmas and think warm thoughts as you and yours dream about sun, fun, sliding and chilling for summer of 23. Not only will you be saving $45 off the regular price, but if you're doing your holiday math, 3 visits and the pass pays for itself. Plus, there's always special offers to season pass holders on concessions, merch, and more. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Now through Christmas at fun-plex.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Now we got basketball tonight. That'll be warm inside. Just have to stay warm getting down to the chai. 7 o'clock, Butler and Creighton. Thad Matta back. Former Ohio State coach. Now he is back as the head coach of Butler. Butler and Creighton tonight. Tip-off at 7. The pregame show with Mr. Ravi Lula. And then John Bishop. And then Jimmy Allen on the postgame in a must-win game. 8.5-point favorite is Creighton over Butler. Ryan Kalkbrenner will be back. We don't know how much he'll play, but he has been practicing, and he will be good to go tonight, and you can hear it right here on The Zone. Rough time of the year to play basketball this week, okay? So Christmas time. We're going to get to what happened in Iowa City yesterday. But I am curious, just because I was scrolling through all of the commitment stuff that was put together by the social media team at Nebraska, and these official visits where they take pictures of players sitting on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, maybe I'm reading too much into this, and my head is just all clogged because of all the recruiting stuff, because I'm a recruitnik. Do you think Nebraska next year will be white on white road uniform?
I saw one of those pictures, and I was like, yeah.
There was a lot of white on white. Now, I know, you have a kind of a stock uniform, and then you go get the number, and kids kind of like the white on white or red on red.
Ooh.
Will we get either one of those next year? Will a new era, will Matt Rule say, and don't do it, because I like the red pants, is we're going to go white on white?
I buy that more than red on red.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Not saying I'm a fan of it. I still have shades of Matt Rule's alma mater, Nebraska, Penn State, where they had a little red splash on the side too. And they didn't have a great year that year. I think they got housed by Iowa State on the road in those all whites too.
Remember seeing them
that was
first time,
2002. That's the worst uniform Nebraska's ever had.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Like, what did they do? Why?
Yeah.
Well, you know who that uniform came from? I got in trouble for this. That was back in
Can you still get in trouble for this?
Might be a hint.
I could be in trouble for that. I don't even know where that
Did
guy
it come from Steve?
I don't even know where that guy is.
Came from Steve then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, the story goes that those uniforms, he tried to pass it off that the players voted on them.
Okay.
The
I remember.
wide red stripes.
Yeah, I remember
that
hearing
was the players.
Yeah, the players push. Yeah.
So the first time I saw them, I was like, "Ooh, these are." I don't. And the first time they wore them was a home game, so you didn't see white on white. But I didn't like the pants.
Yeah.
Because I think Nebraska has one of the crispest, cleanest uniforms in
Absolutely.
college football,
Mhm.
and I don't ever like that uniform to be touched. I think I think the helmet with the N and the red on the white is a great college football look.
You know who it is.
I get. We gotta. The kids love the weird uniforms, or as some people call them, alternate. So
You call them weird.
Steve Peterson liked the white on white with the big red stripe.
Yeah.
And so he approved it. And he passed it off as the players said, "Man, that's a great uniform. We got stripes on the pants. It's great." Because they had gotten those stripes.
Yeah.
And so yours truly, who was on the network at the time, you can attest to this. You get the handcuffs put on you. And I said, "No, not on this." I had knocked him one night on Sports Night.
Yeah.
As you should.
And I got called into the office.
No.
You're kidding me. Just
Yeah,
for giving your opinion on the uniform.
He goes, "This is not true." And he told me the whole story. And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm like 7 players were complaining about it." And I used the word 7. And he goes, "Well, that's, that's not really a lot." And so my being a little bit younger than my smart arse said, "Well, there's 7 starters."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got my hand slapped and was told that this is the player's decision. So uniform doesn't make a team. I'm like, and I should have said, "Hey, 7 and 7 with that uniform. I think you're wrong."
Well,
but I wonder if we'll get white on white.
I think we will.
And then we'll get the stats recited here about the surrender whites and what happens.
Yep.
But I just you're seeing a lot of white on white. Maybe Matt Rule says, "Let's do something different. Let's go white on white. Let's change sidelines. Just mix it up in 23. Let's just go crazy."
You can have the one game.
Right, the one game.
The last, okay.
No, I think if you go white on white, that's your road uniform.
Ooh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And the last time they did the white on white on the road, I think was 2016 Northwestern, and they won.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of the chromed out look, which I'll be honest, didn't mind it. Looked a lot better than the white on white in 02. Way better.
Just curious. Just
But
had
if
a
you
lot
do
of
it
time on my
once-
hands yesterday. So this is a rough time to play basketball. Last night, the Nebraska women beat Jimmy's team in triple overtime. A crazy game. Nebraska came back, or they blew a lead. It was a very physical game, but Nebraska found a way to hand KU women their first loss of the year. They won in triple overtime. Coaches hate this time of the year. Like I can't imagine, guys.
Including the one I worked
If Omaha would have played at Iowa State last night, I'd be miserable. First of all, I wouldn't be here. We'd be stuck in Iowa. Yep. We'd be like my relative's house hanging out. I'd be doing the show from
So how do you know Gary?
Aunt Sue's basement.
Where'd you get a good breakfast though?
Shout out Sue Teresi in Ankeny, Iowa.
Probably get a good breakfast though.
I don't know. I
don't know. Are they hospitable? They got to feed the whole team. Feel like
Twister.
Yeah.
But
be good hosts.
But people, especially after like Omaha wins on Monday night to kick off the Summit, that's the last thing they want to do is go play against
Right.
Iowa State.
Yeah.
It was a bad, and it's not on this staff, but it was a bad scheduling because you needed the game and they put it there, and Iowa State wouldn't have wanted to play. Okay, so this is a rough week. Everybody wants to go home. Okay, they get a minor break. Like for Creighton, it's a weird thing. First of all, they've been on the road, seems like forever. And they're not off for break. The basketball team isn't because they play on Christmas Day against DePaul, but then they're off until January 3rd. So on the back end, while everybody else is cranking it up again, Creighton is going to have their time off. But coaches hate this because you're post-finals. So you go through that rigmarole of by the way, student athlete. And then you have that 1 or 2 games before the Christmas break where most teams are gone, like till the 26th or the 27th, depending on when they come back and play. We saw it with Nebraska against Queens. Nebraska got up big the other night. They were coasting. And then the game, the final was probably a little bit closer than it should have been. I think in the last 2 days, if my John Rothstein math is right, we have had 9 teams lose bye games, including one of the largest upsets in the history of college basketball yesterday in Iowa City. Eastern Illinois, which is 356 in Ken Palm. And I apologize, Iowa JD. It was a crappy day to be a Hawkeye yesterday. You had a lineman say I didn't want to settle, and then you had Eastern Illinois beat Iowa.
The fighting Tony Romo.
Thank God Caitlin Clark earlier in the day in Carver Hawkeye had a good day. It was a bad day for the black and gold of Iowa.
I had to look at Eastern Illinois real quick. I saw they lost to Alabama State, who is 1-6.
Yeah. It's Jimmy Garoppolo basically beat George Kittle.
Yeah.
So Eastern Illinois is 356 in Ken Palm. It's the biggest, I believe this is the case. It's the biggest upset in the Ken Palm era to be 356 and knock off Iowa. And they beat them, 91-82? It wasn't like they had a last-second shot, but they were a 31.5-point underdog. Now, here's another little nugget, because I'm going to tie everything in local. You know the last time that Iowa lost on their home floor to and it might be overall, I just know it's home floor because this was in their notes when we were there a month ago. The last time they lost to a non-Power 5 in the non-con was Omaha.
Yeah.
When Omaha won there in the 16-17 season. So you hate those games as a coach because you want to get out. You're usually playing a bye team that is a directional school that has, you got to beat William and Mary. I can see how you get up and you hate these games. So coaches hate it. Look at last night. Arizona State. The only reason that I'm a sicko, I stayed up to watch that game because as Arizona State was getting just destroyed by San Francisco, I wanted to see if Hurley would get thrown out of the game.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
He did. And they beat him by 37. Okay?
Wow.
Arizona State just beat Creighton. San Francisco beat Arizona State by 37. Cal won a game last night that they had no business winning. So this is a rough week for college basketball. But back to the Iowa Eastern Illinois. Because I started to look this up. When a team wins as a 31.5-point underdog, you make a list. Would you have thought that when UMBC in the NCAA tournament beat Virginia, that they were in about the 30-point range of an underdog?
Yeah.
Do you know what what the line closed at before that 16-1 upset was? 20.5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because Virginia didn't have their best player or whatever it was.
I would have thought that final line was a lot larger, but 31.5 was what happened as it closed for Eastern Illinois and Iowa, and Eastern Illinois beat Iowa yesterday. Now, Iowa doesn't have Chris Murray. I think he will be back because they play at Nebraska on the 29th. But this is I'm giving a heads up to the KUs that play Harvard tonight and even Creighton. But Creighton may be able to overcome something like this because they get Kalkbrenner back instead of going through the malaise of, okay, it's Christmas time. Now, also, they aren't going anywhere, so they're staying on campus to play on Christmas. But college basketball this week, just crazy. Watching that game yesterday in Iowa City, I couldn't believe it. And it wasn't a fluke either. Eastern Illinois shot the ball really, really well.
Second half, I think they outscored them at 55-38 because they were down at half. They had just housed them. They're 90 plus.
Well, you have to. What we're finding out here is you have to schedule smart. Like when it's all said and done this year with Creighton, you're going to sit down and diagnose their schedule and how they went about it. Creighton hasn't played at home in a while. I mean, they haven't won in a while, but it just seems like Creighton hasn't been home since like early November,
which is weird.
Yeah,
shouldn't be the case.
And now it's not like you can start. You're going to go a run of about 4 bye games because you're in conference play and everything is split right down the middle. You get 9 on the road and you get 9 at home. Scheduling is important. I mean, you got to schedule for wins, but you also have to be smart about your scheduling. Yeah. And I think there's some teams this week, like Mississippi State. It still blows me away. This shows you what a blunder that idea was Tuesday at Pinnacle Bank Arena, where 2,500 people watched 3 games. Is Mississippi State lost, by the way. Mississippi State was unbeaten. They were number 15 in the country. They got beat by Drake. Because there was nobody there, you hardly hear about it.
Right.
Why was Mississippi State playing in the middle of America right before Christmas? I hope they got paid a lot of money, but that's bad scheduling this time of the year. That's bad scheduling. That's a good game to play in November, around Thanksgiving, and early December, not the week of Christmas, when guys who, they don't have anybody on their roster that's from this part of the country. Most guys probably never been here before, and they roll into town and they get beat by Drake, and you're like, why did we take this game? Unless they were paid a lot of money to do it. So you have to be smart with scheduling. And then you have to get guys to lock in, because this week is tricky.
Yeah.
This is really, really tricky, because that is a jaw dropper. Iowa losing to Eastern Illinois. Will that come back up again in March?
Well, and two things on that. The Creighton thing, first and foremost. I'm until I don't have concerns. I'm going to have concerns for Creighton. Getting Kalkbrenner back, we'll see what his role is. I think the last of the concerns I have for Creighton right now is sort of falling into that pre-Christmas week distraction or just funk. Because I think, as you mentioned, you have Kalkbrenner back, you're at home, you're not leaving anywhere, and they're desperate right now. So I maybe don't worry about them as much for that reason. The other thing, as far as the Mississippi State, how much, and I don't really know the answer to this, so I'm kind of asking this. How much, when making those decisions to go to an MTE, whether it's the week before Christmas or not, are you factoring in the environment? Because on its face, they're like, hey, Pinnacle Bank environment, they draw a lot of people, but then can you look at the date and say, yeah, but there's not going to be any students there. It's going to be right before Christmas. So even their average fan's not going to be there. So what could be appealing to playing in an environment like that on most any other month is not going to be the case. I feel like there's got to be somebody when it comes to those scheduling saying, yeah, we're probably getting some money, but this could be a really lousy environment given the time of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the case, because I don't know how it was sold to them.
Right.
There's no one, hey, guys at Nebraska, they did not, they knew it would be rough because it's not part of the season ticket package and the students are not there, but they were blown away that there was nobody there on Tuesday. So I don't know what was sold to Mississippi State. I don't think anybody could have imagined that it would be that poorly attended.
Yeah.
I did think the rollout there was just a lot of confusion. And Nebraska not having control over the tickets to sell, and
they're not marketing it. Yeah.
Well, and to tell you another thing, and this isn't just from somebody that is aligned with Tickets for Less. There's a lot of people that don't like Ticketmaster these days because of your fees.
Fees, yeah.
I'm going to avoid Ticketmaster, so I'm not going to buy beforehand. I'm going to walk up. And then what happens is the weather isn't great.
Yeah.
That event could have been better. I don't know that they'll ever do that again.
It needs to be done at a
but you have to
different
be
time.
smart scheduling. Like Nebraska probably looked at Queens and said, oh, this is easy. We got a team. And then all of a sudden they roll in here and they've got 9 wins.
Right.
And you get out to a big lead, and then all of a sudden the game gets a little bit closer. So this week is tricky. I think in this case, that's an advantage for Creighton that they are not getting out of town, but also in a game tonight that they have to win, they get Kalkbrenner back. How much he plays, how effective he is, we'll get into that a little bit later. But just having him will at least keep them focused, and there will be energy, where this is always a tough game to have energy. Like Butler, for example. I mean, Butler, they'd like to go to Christmas. They got to go on the road and play. Yeah. It's also kind of interesting that the Big East this week, for example, they've rolled out conference games.
Mm-hmm.
I know we are starting conference play earlier and earlier in college basketball.
But then you break it up.
But the week of Christmas.
Right.
I mean, they've had a Villanova St. John's played last night. I mean, we had Marquette and Providence. So the Big East has said, with all the scheduling, we got to play conference games this week, which is tricky because you may drop a game and the next thing you know, it comes back to bite you in March.
Right.
So we'll talk more about the game tonight downtown. Creighton is an 8.5-point favorite against the Bulldogs of Butler, who I was looking at the roster. Chuck Harris is still in school. How is that possible? I know guys get a COVID year.
Yeah.
Chuck Harris has been at Butler since Barry Collier was the head coach. And remember, Barry Collier came to Nebraska to coach and then went back as the AD. The guy's been there forever. I can't be the only one in the Big East that goes, graduate, go somewhere, go to Europe.
How long was Kraft with Ohio State? It reminds me of Kraft, I feel like was there for a decade.
Yeah, Kraft and Ethan Happ.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe it's just those kind of players.
I think you are.
Just like Grayson Allen seemed like he was at Duke for a long time.
A wonderful 14-year career.
Yes. All right, 51 past the hour. A little bit later, Steve Sipple will join us. What's next for Nebraska football? We'll also talk about the day nationally around college football when it comes to recruiting and who had a big day and who did not have such a good day. If you are into picking winners and losers on the day that guys signed on the bottom line, remember, whatever you say about your recruiting class, your momentum is somebody else's dumpster fire. Just remember that. We're back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley on the Zone after this.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The holidays are here. This holiday season, we encourage you to come support our local stores in Omaha. And Westwood Plaza has everything you need to find that perfect gift. Creighton Comics is a privately owned comic and hobby store. Located in Omaha for the past 30 years, Creighton has become the largest comic book store in the area. They offer a giant selection of collectibles like new comics, clothing, vintage toys, and more. If you can't find what you're looking for in the store, they'll do their best to track it down. Come in and see them on 125th and Center inside Westwood Plaza. Mind Meld Escape Room in Omaha has been locally owned and operated since it opened in 2019. Mind Meld Escape Rooms cater to everyone's preference, from alien enthusiasts, part-time paleontologists, grammar police, to amateur surgeons. They know everyone likes to have a good time once in a while, so why not let them help? Visit Mind Meld Escape Room on 125th and Center inside Westwood Plaza and explore this fun-filled venue today. Everything you need to shop locally for the holidays is at Westwood Plaza in Omaha.
This week, Zone has 5 great deals half off. That's right. Each day this week, we'll have a new deal half off that is perfect for those last-minute gift ideas. You'll find deals from Early Bird, Le Voltaire, Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream, Shug's Comfort Food, and Palm Beach Tan, all for half off. Make sure to log on at 9 a.m. each day to see what deal we have available, because these half-off deals will go fast. Head to 1620thezone.com and click deals now.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer-lasting scent.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Holiday shopping? Backed by popular demand, stop by Cops at 72nd and Jones, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 180th and Center to grab a bite and buy a gift card. Cops gift cards are sure to please. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salad, and tasty charred wings with a variety of homemade sauces. They even offer keto crusts. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cops, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. 72nd and Jones, the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or click copspizza.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $20.10 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/career. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, roads in Omaha, as welcome back into Mornings with Sharp and Handley, appear to be in fairly good shape. Now, the residential roads are snow-packed, but there's a lot of plows out there. And if you don't believe us, just tune into any of the local TV shows during our break, and you'll see that they have reporters out telling you how cold it is when it's 35 below wind chill, 11 below actual temperature, and they show you pictures of the snow that is on the ground.
The numbers speak for themselves.
That's the easy route for the news director.
Yeah.
Hey, morning television reporter, why don't you go out to a place that's going to have a high volume of traffic, usually 72nd and Dodge, stand there in the bitter cold, show everybody how cold it is, and then also have the cameraman pan to mounds of snow.
And a snowplow.
Or a street that is properly cleaned, and the snow that the amount of snow that maybe we didn't think would happen, we didn't get. So
next hour, a little bit more from yesterday in recruiting offensive line. The quarterback room, I think, is kind of interesting. And Eric Fields is really interesting to me. But did you guys catch, and this isn't just a Nebraska thing, because Fleck did it with Wisconsin. And that I think it's Wisconsin, just listen to sound bites from his presser. And Ryan Day kind of went there about, boy, that's another story. Ryan Day went there about, used to be you didn't recruit another team's players. Has he not met Urban Meyer? So,
Yeah.
and then Rule went there yesterday.
Yes, he did.
There were subtle accusations around college football about recruiting improprieties, negative recruiting.
Yep.
A lot of it has to do with NIL. So I know what the tweet is now about the duck and the U. Nebraska internally, they were really worried, and this came to fruition yesterday. A.J. Cornelius, the offensive lineman who picked Oregon, they were really worried that they could not compete with Oregon's pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of schools that lost players to Oregon yesterday are saying the same thing. But that's what Nebraska's viewpoint is we can't compete with what Oregon was offering yesterday. So that's what that tweet was.
Yeah.
But Rule kind of subtly, a lot of it NIL, talked about the recruiting. And I don't think he went all the way there, but he's not the first about tampering with players that are on your roster that get into the portal.
It's Wild West.
Coaches were not afraid to go there.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would even say it was subtle. I thought he pretty much went all in on it. And it almost seemed to, you could tell too, as he was kind of talking about it, there was momentum behind it.
Oh,
it struck a nerve.
He's got a feeling about NIL.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely got a feel about NIL, which he's at a place that probably gives you the ability, you would think, to compete, but you got to have a coach that says, I'm good with that.
Right.
Maybe the only way to avoid all of this is just to, be the official program of God and Jesus, like Clemson is.
No NIL, no transfer portal.
God is our name, image, likeness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being funny. That's what Dabo said yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That was all. He'd been
off the rails.
I think he'd been holding on to that line for a long time when he got to his signing presser yesterday.
Sounded like a youth pastor.
Yep.
It was on the hand.
Yep.
Yeah, that part of Matt Rule especially, it was a question about NIL. And given some of the unfamiliarity, and that was one of the things that people were wondering about Matt Rule, transfer portal was obviously a thing when he left Baylor, but not where it is now. NIL wasn't. And it was an honest question. And I think it's a question a lot of people wanted to ask as far as, how are you going to utilize that, especially on a day like yesterday where it's National Signing Day and you're looking at all the different ways and the creativity of bolstering your roster. And it started, I think, with a kind of almost like a don't get me started type tone. And then, okay, you got me started, so here I go.
He was not alone. There are a lot of people that are upset at Oregon. We'll discuss as we roll till 10. Steve Sipple will join us. Don't forget to ask us anything. Get in your questions and win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. We'll do that about 9:30. Jimmy at 1620thezone.com. And then Brian Edwards closes out this Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report on this cold and snowy day, but you can expect some significant slowdowns from 102nd all the way to 79th along L Street. Then on Dodge, be prepared for a bit of a delay from 94th to 90th. Then all along east and westbound I-680, be prepared for some slowdowns there as well. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC, heating, plumbing, and more.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Want to know what CBDs and Creighton can do for you? Then stop by any 42 Degrees location. Talk to our knowledgeable and friendly staff and see why we are the source for all your Creighton and CBD needs. 42 Degrees, by your mom's house.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. In their final non-conference game of the season, the Maverick men's basketball team was down 67-45 by Northern Colorado last Friday night. The Omaha men officially end their non-conference slate at 5-6. The Omaha baseball team has officially released its spring schedule. They'll play 25 home games at Tal Anderson Field for the 2023 season. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeredInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
At Total Wine & More, save big on what you love this December with hundreds of deals. Get up to 35% off over 200 different wines and spirits, including Cabernet, sparkling wine, single barrel bourbon, and so much more. These savings are huge, and even better, they're on top of prices that are already the lowest in town. Deals this good don't last long, so visit Total Wine & More to find yours. Love what you find at the lowest price, only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-917-1965. That's 1-800-917-1965. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-917-1965. That's 1-800-917-1965.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your new home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
Come visit Omaha's Little Corner of France for mouth-watering appetizers and entrees, plus melt-in-your-mouth desserts. Pick up your holiday gift cards today or reserve their party room for your holiday gatherings. Les Voltaire will make you feel right at home, just like they've been doing for more than 2 decades. Les Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in the Pepperwood Village, and at lesvoltaireomaha.com. Make New Year's reservations now for their 5:30 or 8:30 seatings. More info at levoltaireomaha.com.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone.
What am I, an Omaha Lancer game?
Yeah.
They still play this at Omaha Lancer games.
Yes. I used to play that when I was going to Lancer games when I was in high school.
How many people say that? When I used to go to Lancer games. They still exist.
Yeah, they do.
They're coming up on, what, about 30 years?
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
They still play this when the Miami Heat win. That is one constant going back to the beginning days of the Heat.
See, I'm 43, and I remember going as early as probably like 11, 12 years old. So, and I know they existed before that.
So as a former voice of Lincoln Stars, I hated that song. And if it wasn't for Mike Hastings, I would hate everything about the Omaha Lancers because they were a huge rivalry.
Yeah.
But Steve Johnson and Mike Hastings were best of friends, and I love Hasty. I'm single-handedly trying to get him the Omaha hockey job. You want to put a banner in a building, you hire Mike Hastings. There you go. That's my PSA for the day about Omaha hockey. But I haven't been to a Lancer game since I was doing the Stars games. I just randomly have never gone to Ralston Arena, which is too bad because, like, I always say this, Nick, Ralston Arena for people in Omaha is like Siberia. Like, you have to cross, L Street.
Yeah.
To, like, if you're driving, from my part of town, and Ralston Arena seems like it's so far away.
Right.
I don't think they, I
understand that.
I don't think they,
they had
an incredible run. When Ted Baer was running the show and Greg Shea and all of those great guys at Exarban Coliseum, which was really, really cool.
Love that.
And then they bounced around. They went over to Council Bluffs and then downtown. But that's the song I always, not Glenn Fry, not the Miami Heat. I always tie that in with the Omaha Lancers.
Yeah, me as well.
So good luck to them. I need to get to the Icebox in Lincoln to go see the Stars play. I've been there for a while.
Now, you talk about Stars have been around probably even longer, right?
They have been around for 96 was our first year.
Okay.
So we're little. Yeah, last year was the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, the
got to start winning though, boys in Lincoln. Haven't won the last Clark Cup that they won. I was there.
I had a buddy who played for Waterloo when I was in high school, and we would go to the Icebox. We would go to the Coliseum to watch the Lancers, and you say you need to get back to the Icebox. I need to had experienced that more. And I still would like to, but talk about in my 20s, missing out on that. That's a big miss because the Icebox, I don't know if there's another venue like it when it comes to junior hockey.
It has to be full.
Yes.
But it basically is a nightclub with a hockey rink in the middle of it when it's at its peak.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard Lincoln Stars fan. They're actually having a really good year this year. So maybe we'll make a trip to go watch USHL hockey.
They better have a dollar beer night, don't they?
You know what? Maybe they'll let me come back and do a game.
There you go. That can be a
I think they have a new announcer. They have their previous announcer, I think, got a minor league job or he moved up.
Okay.
So they have a new announcer. Maybe they'll come back and let me do a game.
Is Craig doing the PA?
Yeah, I
still?
think he's still doing the PA.
Good.
All right, the league has changed. I liked it when it was a little bit older and there was more fighting.
Oh yeah,
slap shot.
Not to that extent, because I feel a little dirty saying that about 18, 20, because back then it was a little bit older. The league, she had like 21-year-old kids playing. Yeah. But people enjoyed their buds and their everything else in the USHL. All right, welcome back in. We are on the morning after the signing day yesterday, where it's so great that you get opportunities, young men and women, they get an opportunity to continue to play a sport that they love, and all the journey to get to that point, and how yesterday, and whether you sign in November, you sign in April, you sign in February, that's a great day. That is such a cool thing for everybody involved. We had 2 football players from Pierre, South Dakota sign with Power 5 schools yesterday, Ohio State and Nebraska. We also had, here in this town, I think this is really cool, and I kind of feel bad for him because he doesn't get as much attention as his brother, but the Noonan family had a monster day yesterday, and thank God they live in a big house because there was no school, so they moved their signing ceremony to their basement in their house. So they had coaches in there. They had media in there. They had strangers in their house and fellow students that were there to watch the 2 Noonan twins sign. Yes, I said twins. So everybody knows about Maverick and him signing with Nebraska to follow the route of his dad's alma mater. His twin brother, Alec, is a really good basketball player for Elkhorn South. He's going to play for Tyler Irwin out in Fremont for Midland University.
Nice.
I thought that was like the twins signed on the same day. That was pretty cool. But they had it in their basement. Can you imagine all of a sudden you got to scramble?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay, we need the backdrop, the Elkhorn South backdrop. We'll have a table. Media, this is where our house is. Come into our neighborhood and come into the basement. Make sure you take your shoes off.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We're going to have a signing.
Do they have a walkout? I mean, it would have been easy access just to come into the basement through the walkout. That's what I'm hoping. I feel like their basement would be a lot more accommodating than mine.
Maybe about 20 boxes of pizza. Like, help yourself. Have some lunch.
Oh, they have a media meal?
I don't know.
There was a media meal?
But you know they have a ping pong table.
Was that the table?
Because when Rule went to visit, they played ping pong.
Could you turn that into the table?
Yeah, maybe you could. I thought that was like that's a cool day for that family, and it's a really cool family. I've gotten to know them, the games that we do with Elkhorn South, but to have both of your twins sign on the same day, and they're going to get to play 2 different sports in college. That was kind of neat. Those were like a couple of things that stood out to me. We're gonna get into Oregon because people are asking questions yesterday about Rule talking about NIL, PJ Fleck kind of hinting something happened with Wisconsin. A lot of people are accusing Michigan of tampering, Oregon of tampering. Alabama did not tamper. They just took hellacious class.
They're good.
But back to yesterday was a bad day for Iowa. A guy who you and I know pretty well. We've had him on as guest from the Des Moines Register, Chad Lystico, who covers the Hawkeyes. He tweeted this out. This was during Iowa getting beat by Eastern Illinois as a 31.5-point favorite yesterday. A fan just came down from the upper row in section NN to the Hawkeye bench to chew out Iowa's lack of defense. Wow. He is being escorted from the arena by security. I guess this might be a reporter or a fan or something. The fan was told by Brad Floy, I don't know who Brad Floy is, "You're not the coach." The fan replied, "I'm the coach now."
Speaking of dollar beer nights.
That's awesome.
I'm the captain.
That is awesome that you would be so upset
I'm the coach
with how
now.
Iowa's playing that you come down to the bench because you can in these games because they're not, they're not many people there, and just start giving it. Now, the best would have been if Fran would have responded.
Well, do we know if Fran was even hearing whispers of this? Because I feel like, there's coaches that are like, whatever, it's none of my business. I don't feel Fran is a guy that would let that go, especially with what was going on in that game, where your emotions on a slight lead that you have is completely going by the wayside in the second half. Fran's got a little bit of a temper, as we know. If you're hearing that behind you, that's just sort of adding on a little bit. That's piling up. I could see Fran that could have been a really bad situation if Fran was hearing this.
Had they won, that could have been the first question. Fran, did you know you got replaced at some point? But since they lost, probably won't ask.
Well, how big is that game on the 29th at Pinnacle for Iowa and Nebraska? Coming off the Christmas break?
Yeah. Do you think people kind of, after a loss like that with Fran, the media maybe walks on eggshells a little bit during that post-game presser?
Oh, no. The Iowa media with Fran have changed. They will go at him. Remember, there was a testy exchange a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've crossed over. I don't care.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want. We're going to ask those questions. Yesterday, with the signing, all the signing stuff going on, and we watched from afar as Alabama was. Let me just tell everybody, accumulating 6 5-stars, 24 stars, and they had a lone 3-star. What if you're the 3-star in the Alabama class?
Yeah.
You're like, can I at least get a bump? Can I be in a 3.5 star?
Please.
Now that I'm going to Bama.
So Alabama
got to get that quota.
Basically to college football said, hello, Nick Saban. I'm not going anywhere. They have 14 players in the top 100. They don't need NIL. You know what they have? They have NFL.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They have 70 players that are on active rosters right now in the NFL. 70.
Mm-hmm.
No program at a current time has ever had that. But that's what Alabama has right now. So they don't need the NIL. But we saw that NIL was a big thing. Again, I'm under the mindset, kind of a little bit with Matt Rule, is I want you here for football, and then we'll figure out the NIL. I think NIL should be used for retention and rewardment.
Mm-hmm.
We have a guy that's thinking about going somewhere. Let's see if we can get him a deal. Hey, we're going to find an NIL deal for you as a reward for what you did. If I have to pay millions, allegedly, to get somebody, and I'm in a bidding war, I'm going to wonder, do they really want to be here? We all wonder that. But if you have the means, there shouldn't be anything stopping you if you want to play that game. I tweeted out that Dan Lanning was having a great day yesterday recruiting for Oregon. He falls from the Kirby Smart tree.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Lanning, in his first year, had a pretty good year. Would you say they took Bo Nix to a place that he had not been before?
100%.
And if Dan Lanning does really successful at Oregon, boy, if you're the next big SEC school to open up, aren't you calling?
Oh, yeah.
Done.
But Dan Lanning, just like Urban Meyer did to the Big Ten, and a little bit of an extent because he's still really, really young. And, you have some okay coaches in that league. Urban Meyer came to the Big Ten out of the SEC and said, no, this is how we did it to win championships. This is what we need to do in the Big Ten. Dan Lanning went to Oregon where they already have some built-in advantages.
Right.
And said, we're going to recruit like the SEC. How we're going to be aggressive, we're going to push it, we're going to stretch it, we're going to tick some people off. But we have this unbelievable NIL deal. Thank you, Phil Knight. And we're going to use it. So why should they be knocked if that's what they want to do and they can, that they're using it? Then it becomes, as I keep going back to, Nick, can you cook the food?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question that everybody wants to know. But on this day, if I've got an NIL strong collective and I'm losing guys, I'm wondering, if you have it, why not use it? And
right.
Oregon did. I mean, Oregon's recruiting haul is damn impressive. Now it will be, can Dan Lanning in year number 2 cook the food? So I'm not going to knock Oregon for flipping a guy from Notre Dame, flipping a guy from Baylor. I mean, they had an incredible last 36 hours. They've got the NIL. They want to use it. Good on you.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm gonna pull my seat up to the front row and I'm gonna go, okay, I like where you're going, Dan Lanning, because I like him a lot. And you cook the food.
Well, how much of this with coaches that do get very outspoken, and even Matt Rule, as we mentioned yesterday, get very outspoken about this, they either lose a recruit on what they believe is there was a bigger bag of cash with NIL.
So that's A.J. Cornelius is the guy that Nebraska subtly or not subtly is alluding to. They lost him to Oregon.
Right. But also, how much of NIL is going to be thrown around kind of like the boogeyman? And what I mean by that is, look, these coaches, they're paid to win games, but they're also part of that process is you need to recruit. Now, if you've been established in a program long enough where maybe recruiting rankings aren't the end all be all for certain coaches because they have a history of, we've talked about the D word, developing, when you think of what Iowa has done, what Wisconsin has done, they're not overly concerned about being in the top 30 every year because You said what's Alabama's NIL? NFL. Okay, they're still getting guys in there. There's a track record there. But for new coaches, there's always that pressure. How many times are these coaches, if they do miss out on a recruit, are just going to sort of loosely throw around NIL as the boogeyman of, well, the only reason we lost out on this guy is because he got a better financial offer, when that might not be the case. To where what I'm getting at is some of these coaches, I think maybe are kind of using that as an alibi, or are kind of throwing that around. Now, I know everybody knows it. This happens. Okay, this is how NIL is being used with some schools and some coaches. But the bottom line is it does exist. I get it, maybe not for its true intention of being there. Yeah, of course, you'd like to be able to get the guy in, sell him on the program, and then, as you pointed out, take care of him, use it for retention, use it for rewarding. That's a good thing. It doesn't happen. But right now, with how sort of loosely this thing is governed, if you have that at your disposal and it's an advantage for you compared to other schools that you're recruiting against, hell yeah, you got to use it. But you're right. At the end of the day, you're still going to be held accountable on how those types of guys develop in year 2 and 3 of your program.
See, this is going to be the transition for Matt Rule, because Nebraska is going to pride themselves on having a strong collective and in line, that there's no secrets, and, what you need will get you. But are you going to have a head coach that's going to fully embrace that?
Yeah.
That he really wants somebody, but he's not willing to go there. But yet you're at a school that's going to pride themselves on having a really, really good NIL. That's going to be the balance as Matt Rule makes the transition back to college, where he didn't have that at Baylor. And even if it was at Baylor, he wouldn't have what they're putting together at Nebraska.
Right.
So he's got to figure out what is his space to compete with other schools that are going all in on their NIL and have strong collectives. Because I think we saw yesterday schools that were prepared and have a solid collective, that there's no wiggle room and no fancy business going on of who's got a collective here, who's got a collective there. Those schools did really well. That's the next step for Matt Rule. He can dislike this all he wants, and I get where he's coming from. He's a football guy. And we're all like that. Hey, I want you to come to my school because I want you to be football first, not because we're paying you more. Right. But if you have that, at some point you have to be willing to use it to get guys to campus instead of my reward them and retain them. Here is Matt. Matt, thanks for the call. Welcome to the show. We might have to punch him up, Jimmy. Sorry about that, Matt. Now we got you. Good morning.
There we are. Good morning. I didn't hear that little crackle before I was going on. Hey, so I don't know the mentality of these players, but I'm thinking of it in my aspect as best as I could with my job, with working. If I were to win the lottery, or let me ask you, if you were to win the lottery, would you work? Maybe you might keep your job, but would you work as hard because you've got that money that you can fall back on? Where's their heart? What do they want to do? Do they really want to play football or not? I feel like that money aspect of it can take away that drive to actually perform well for some players.
Yeah, and that's you know what, Matt, that's fair, because that is happening. You hope that's not the case, but that's a valid concern.
Mm-hmm.
I just think every coach, now that they're into it, and this is becoming more of a factor, they're going to have to find a commonplace and a comfortability of how they use NIL in recruiting. And Matt, thanks for the phone call. Because we saw yesterday some schools that use it to their full extent.
Yeah.
They won some last-second battles. I mean, Oregon in the last 36 hours, it was either, hey, okay, I like Oregon. I know Oregon. I got the flashy uniforms. I got all of that stuff. I mean, Eugene is a remote place. We got you. I wanted to get you over the finish line. This is what we can do for you. Not every coach, I think, is willing to go there because
it pisses coaches off.
Like Harbaugh. Michigan. I imagine Michigan's got a huge NIL. But is Harbaugh, the strike you, as the kind of guy that wants to go there?
I think a lot of people would say yes, but I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I'm more curious on the power struggle that might be with the collective that still does exist at Clemson, even though Dabo does not want to do it. At what point are you going to be really trying to encourage Dabo? Come on, hey, we got this. We can use this. I know it goes against your principles and everything, but we're starting to slide back a little bit too.
You know where it changes, Nick? When you are second in the ACC in recruiting to Miami, who had a big day and they have a big NIL.
Yep.
As they should.
We already know about that NIL.
Not everybody is Alabama and Georgia, which they have really good NIL programs, I would imagine. But they don't. You never hear probably on the road the recruiting pitch first of, hey, at Alabama you could make this.
Right.
I mean, the Kirby Smart and Nick Saban walk in and they go NFL,
and they're
NFL.
You can make this, and you point to these several players that are currently playing on Sundays. You can make that money.
I mean, Alabama has 70 guys currently active in the NFL. 70.
It
70
speaks volumes. It's huge.
Which is a little bit depressing for a place like even Nebraska, which you are, you at some point you got to get guys that you don't have to develop, that you can't you attach the D word to. You got guys that are just dudes, and they walk in and they're dogs, and they come and make plays right from the jump.
Yeah.
The rest of college football is watching the Alabamas and Georgias sitting at the top again and going, okay, all we need to do is be one of 12. Maybe that's a little bit different. Yesterday can be one of those like exciting days, can be one of those intriguing days, and then for some it can be a very depressing day.
If Clemson, let's say next year, drops out, because right now they're just 24/7 Sports currently has them at 13. Miami way ahead at 4. If that holds, and say Clemson loses, falls back a little bit more, maybe loses a guy or two, this time next year, is Dabo playing the game a little bit? And I'm not even talking about, the tampering accusations, but are you making that a bigger part of your pitch when it comes to recruits?
I don't think so. After he goes with God as our name, image, likeness,
because that's a strong thing to say, as he did yesterday.
At Clemson, I know they promote the NFL, and why not? I mean, they've got a lot of fellas in the NFL as well. It's the weird. Now, this is part of the whole deal: is how comfortable you are in promoting NIL to win battles. What model is right? That's another thing. Everybody's gonna, what's right for me isn't right for you. You're on the recruiting rankings. I want you to scroll down before we get to KG here. Where is Michigan? Michigan is now in the playoff for 2 straight years.
Michigan is currently 16th with 0 5-stars, 14 4s, 16 3s.
Do you know that'll be the lowest ranked recruiting class under Jim Harbaugh?
Top 10 almost every year, right?
Now, they've had a really good portal class from Hausman to they got an edge rusher from Coastal Carolina. But they're going to say, we got a bunch of guys that fit. Look at our discussion with Alan True yesterday. He said Harbaugh doesn't care about the recruiting rankings.
Yeah.
They went and got guys that are ideal for them.
They just so happen to have some top 10 recruiting classes when Harbaugh's been there.
Let's get KG here. I'm going to need your help again, Jimmy. Good morning, KG. Happy holidays.
Oh, happy holidays to you guys, too. Hey, I have a question on this name, image, likeness for these high school kids. I know are they signing contracts, or is it potentially they have agents? I don't know. I do not know how this works for the life of me for when they get paid this money.
They have advisors. I would hope family has advisors that are helping their sons or daughters that sign NIL deals before they get to college. But they cannot have quote unquote agents.
It's a different A word, yeah.
Oh, they cannot.
I don't.
Okay, so
even though things have changed, I still don't believe they can sign with an agent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Even the guys who are in the college players who are in the transfer portals, they can't do that as well. So
they are called advisors.
Advisors.
Yes.
Okay.
They are PE advisors, potential earning advisors, while they still are quote unquote amateurs.
Oh, okay. And where do you find those? Is it the school sponsor them, or do they have to find them? Where do they find those?
Sometimes it's a family friend.
Yeah.
There are places where you can go to find an advisor. This is something that is more prevalent in baseball, in the draft, where all of a sudden a stud high school player will have a quote unquote advisor. Are you looking Are you looking for one for your son over at Papio South? Or?
Eventually, yeah.
Oh,
wow!
All right.
Wow, your phone's going to start ringing. The recruiting is going to start.
Should we give you? Can we give your number away?
Hey. Thanks, KG.
Thanks. Have a great day. Happy holidays.
the overall confusion of that too. Like KG, anybody else? Like, I get it. It's at some point you're like, okay, well, how are you able to maneuver that? And we know that some of the programs in universities, they have that compliance department that they do provide the assistance. Something as simple as understanding that, the tax impact on these NIL deals, which is important. Because I can only imagine if at 18 or 19 years old, I am signed on to do something that is in the six-figure range, and then all of a sudden it comes tax time. Wait a minute. I mean, I got to pay some of this back? What the hell? Like, there's a lot of, I think, basic education that I think is very valuable that I know the universities do provide, but when it comes to, having an advisor, not an agent, obviously very big part of this process too, as that number gets higher too.
All right. Here, let's get Mike in Kansas City, where it's going to be brutally cold for the Chiefs and the Seahawks. Merry Christmas, Mike. Thanks for the call.
Good morning, Gary. Listen, I thought on the NIL issue, a lot of successful businesses do what they call as a key employee stay bonus strategy as part of their exit plan for their business owner. And even the larger corporations do key employee retention strategies, of course. So to me, what do you guys think about the idea is if you bring somebody in or once the player gets getting developed and they set up an NIL program, what they can do is tie it into a stay bonus. Say, look, we're going to defer this money to you and it's going to be 100% yours, but you have to stay. And so is this, whether he's coming in or he's developed, he gets paid the money on the back end. After he graduates, plays his career at his highest level, there's going to be a bucket of money for you that you go on and do other things with, not as a pay-as-you-go strategy. And that helps businesses retain their eagles, as I call them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I like the idea of retention, but what you're talking about, it would have the NIL would basically have to go back under the umbrella of the school, and these guys would be employees. I think the school, with your idea, the school would have to, the school would have to control everything. But we are seeing, and I'll be curious to see if it happens with the college to NFL, but there are a couple of players that stayed around in college basketball this year that could have gone pro, that they got really good NIL deals to stay. I haven't seen that yet as much in college, but we are seeing it in college basketball. So possibly along those lines. But I agree with you, Mike, about the retention. It just, to do what you're proposing, it would have to go back under the umbrella of the school, and they would be employees, and you're basically paying guys.
Well, but you wonder if the NIL, an organization, I'm not sure how that's set up, Gary, on the NIL side, but maybe they would have parameters for the Nebraska NIL program that's outside the university. They could have those parameters built into the program and maybe even have a larger incentive bonus at the back end if the player stays all through his years in Nebraska, and let them control that on their end instead of the school side. I don't know if that would be possible.
That's an interesting angle. And Mike, thanks for the phone call. Merry Christmas. There's a lot of moving parts of the NIL on when you get paid. Is it a one-year deal? You get your cash, you move on. I mean, DeColdis Crawford is the prime example.
Yeah.
And whatever he's going to do, which I wonder if Matt Rule was talking to him yesterday about guys that go into the portal and we don't always take them back.
Yeah, I was asked the question. Yeah.
Is one time, I think that was a one-time we're paying you. I mean, if he comes back, does it continue to the next year? There's a lot of, as this is a moving thing, there are a lot of those questions that come up that have to be answered right away. And I would love to be in one of the negotiations, because I also think some of these numbers that are being thrown around is not true. You hear guys are getting a couple of million.
Yeah, 8-9 million. I've even heard.
Show me. I don't believe that. Okay. If you say guy's getting $1 million, I might say, well, I've heard he's getting 275, and I would probably be closer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gray area in here. But what happened yesterday is, if you have it, you can use it. And some kids, that is the that is either the thing that puts them over the top, or it's just an added bonus, or that's why I'm coming to your school, because you can pay me the most.
Sure.
And you know what? Usually those guys that say, I'm only coming to your school because you paid me the most, are the guys that in 2 years are back in the portal.
Right.
And they're trying to find that next school, and they're
Yep.
like, no, I don't think so.
Mhm.
So yesterday, I think, was the start of maybe the NCAA. Well, why do I even say this? The NCAA going, because you heard NIL, tampering,
Yeah.
some other things that are going on, that who is going to control the wild, wild west?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what coaches that I've worked with have told me it is, because they spend most of their time now focusing on NIL more than anything else that they do. And that's why you're seeing some coaches say, I'm getting out of this.
So coaches aren't afraid to go there. I mean, Matt Rule, with an emoji, went there with Oregon and Miami.
And the whole time we're thinking, oh, they can't keep up with Nebraska's NIL. Well, then we find out, no, it's the exact opposite of that.
They're the NIL.
I mean, and they put a lot of effort, and they put a good plan together for an offensive lineman that would walk in the door and start. And I'm sure they feel that the only reason they lost him was because Oregon could pay him more money. But Nebraska's not like in wandering in the NIL world. My understanding is it's a pretty solid deal that has a plan. Now, just not unlimited cash, but has a plan that you can utilize, and it's there for you to utilize. You just got to, I think the head coach is going to have to find the right balance on how I use it to help my current roster and help my future roster.
That's why I feel coaches are at times going to use NIL as an excuse of not getting the guy when it may or may not have been true.
Well, and there's also going to be coaches that are very lenient to use it because they're hearing from their buddies, or it's happened to them, that the NIL has infiltrated the locker room.
Yes.
And it's messed up chemistry.
And that's coming.
Coming up in an hour, Stephen M. Sipple will join us. We'll get his thoughts on what happened yesterday. And then what is ahead, because there will be an interesting battle for quarterback. Jeff Sims, who is liked by the current head coach, Casey Thompson, who is liked by a lot of people. And Casey Thompson, by the way, not afraid to go there on social media if you say that there will be a competition. He likes competition, but he has not given up any ground, which could make things kind of spicy, which is perfect for what this roster needs. But we're back with more of Mornings with Sharp and Handley after this. Woodhouse Buick GMC. Right now, okay? So you know how bitterly cold it is outside. And you need a vehicle. You need a vehicle now because winter is here. So you need something that is capable, like a truck, an SUV, on the roads. And you don't want to spend time on a lot when it's 35 below wind chill. Not at Woodhouse Buick GMC, because they have a large indoor showroom at 119th and I that you can shop inside with all the cold weather. You can see all the new and pre-owned inventory. And it's not like you're scrunched when you're in the showroom. It is a vast showroom. So check it out today. Find yourself a vehicle that fits your needs this wintertime and beyond. Something that keeps you safe, something that keeps you warm. At Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I. Or you can do it online, where you'll also be nice and warm. At WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. They streamline the process. They will make it easy on you to find the vehicle that meets your needs. 119th and I, in-store or online anytime. WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Basically what a runza is. It's a breadstick with meat and cabbage. It's a breadstick with meat and cabbage on the inside.
No, it is not a breadstick.
Yes, it is. It's a bread pocket, Nick. Breadsticks are so, it's a stick of bread.
It's not a
meat
stick
jammed in.
So
definitely not a stick.
So when you go to the store to buy Wonder Bread, you get a stick of bread?
No, that's a loaf.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Windy and extremely cold Thursday. Wind chill warning remains in effect throughout the day. Watch out for areas of blowing snow with northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. Afternoon highs will stay below zero with wind chills 30 to 40 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC Heating, Plumbing, and more, time-saving traffic center. We're still getting reports of that accident along the entrance ramp of I-680 near exit 446, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Along center, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 192nd to 175th, and on L, be prepared for some pretty significant delays from 96th to 72nd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Omaha's Children's Museum.
This holiday season, give the gift of play at Omaha Children's Museum. Now through the end of the year, save $25 when you get the gift of membership with the Omaha Children's Museum. Visit ocm.org for more information.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Acura of Omaha has more than 100 quality pre-owned vehicles with most priced thousands below market value. Get our best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com. That's AcuraofOmaha.com.
Give gifts from Greenberg's and receive a Shields gift card worth up to $500. Choose from stunning diamond engagement rings, anniversary rings, pendants, earrings, and more. It will be a perfect gift for both of you. Make a $500 purchase and receive a $50 Shields gift card. $1,000? Get a $100 gift card. $2,000? Get a $300 card. $3,000? Get a $500 gift card. Hurry into Greenberg's for this limited time holiday offer. West Roads Mall.
Food insecurity is a real problem in my community. I'm helping my neighbors get the food they need by volunteering with Food Bank for the Heartland.
Give back to your community by donating or volunteering. Visit foodbankheartland.org to get started.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your new home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
If you're the one who's always asked to bring plates and napkins to a party, well, do that. But bring something extra too. Bring along some of the most awesomest ice cream in the metro. Ted and Wally's. Seriously, if you bring Ted and Wally's ice cream, the pie table will be the most popular dessert location because Ted and Wally's ice cream is perfect with pies. Stop into Ted and Wally's at either their Benson or Old Market location and grab some pints or quarts. Pick up some gift cards too because stocking stuffers, Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. TedandWally's.com.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Did you see the Brooklyn Nets scored 91 in the first half last night against Golden State?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Ooh.
Straight out of 1984. But not 1980.
Not having Curry undermanned Golden State on that road trip. Yeah. If it wasn't for what Jordan Poole had 43 in a game that they won, they would have had an 0-6 road trip. So now you go into Christmas and you have no Curry, and Golden State is like wobbling because they haven't had their full complement. Man, Brooklyn, though, is playing pretty well.
What's Brooklyn averaging? I'm just curious. What are they averaging per night?
Point total?
Yeah.
I think they're like in the 120s. I mean, KD and Kyrie are playing well. I mean, Brooklyn is on a roll right now that, Jack Vaughn took over.
You get 3/4 of that if you're averaging the first half.
It really is like the 1980s. There were many teams that were averaging 120 a game back then.
That's just insane.
The norm now.
91 in the first.
Pascal Siakam scored 52 at the Garden last night. Knicks finally lost.
Jesus.
I was going to tell you yesterday, because you as a Bears fan, my only team in that town that I care for are the Cubs. Until the Bulls beat the Heat the other day, do you know that the Bulls, the Blackhawks, and the Bears were on a combined 18-game losing streak?
Wow. I did not know that. 18.
I mean,
and it's cold.
I mean,
the Hawks are terrible.
And I feel bad because, how much longer does Kane and Taves play together? And I think they're over 1,000 games together. The Blackhawks are.
It's a mess.
Well, and it's too bad because you win cups and then all of a sudden you tear apart the roster and they are really, really bad.
Well, and the thing is, in my heart, I can't say goodbye to Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves as a fan, but as someone who wants to see this organization get back to are you pulling off 3 in 5 years? No, but get back to being a regular playoff team. You got to cut at least one of them loose.
You got to blow it up,
and you're wasting away though. On the flip side of it, you're wasting away the last real solid years, if they're even existing between those two, with what is it's a delicate, and for people who don't maybe follow the NHL, like it's a hard cap. You go over the cap, you're sitting dudes out. So you can't. There's no luxury tax there. You can't go over the cap, and so you can't get overly creative other than maybe getting lucky with some young prospects that all of a sudden they just step on the ice and they're absolute dudes. And unfortunately, you need more than maybe 3 or 4 of those guys. So yeah, you're in that damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at this point, from a fan standpoint, I would assume the majority of them see the value of maybe cutting one, if not both, loose now.
Poll question: are the Rockford Ice Hogs better than the Chicago Blackhawks?
They might be. Yeah, they probably are.
Soccer little nugget here. Congratulations. This is, it's been an incredible fall for Creighton men's soccer. Johnny Torres and that program getting to the Final Four and then losing before the championship game, but nobody expected them even to make the tournament, and they got in and they roared all the way to Cary, North Carolina. They had 2 players yesterday drafted in the top 10 in the MLS draft.
Nice.
Duncan McGuire, who just scored again, and then Owen O'Malley. And then I recognized another local name. So this area had 3 players taken in the top 20 of the MLS draft because Cole Jensen, who went to Lewis Central in Council Bluffs and is the goalkeeper for Xavier, went like 18 to Miami, maybe.
Nice.
So volleyball state. Come on. Soccer. We will discuss the quarterbacks because Matt Rule's comments about Jeff Sims yesterday and how he's had his eye on him and NFL guys are talking about him. He didn't go into much detail about the guy that started the majority of the games last year. We'll get to that. But I have a question about quarterbacks because quarterbacks will be on display tonight in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence against Zach Wilson. Did you see Matt Ryan got benched again?
Yeah.
Colts are a joke. Sorry, Dan Hoppen. Colts are a joke. I mean, this is an opportunity just to blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
I don't know how you play this weekend after Dallas bye week blowing the game against the Vikings. But Matt Ryan has been benched again. Nick Foles is starting.
My man, Big
Super Bowl
Nick.
hero.
Big Nick.
Matt Ryan is owed $12 million next year. Do you know that right now he is a $40 million cap hit on the Falcons?
Yeah.
But Matt Ryan's broken.
He is. Yeah, I love Matt Ryan too. But he is.
I think it's over. I mean, it's like Jake Delhomme.
So if you had to, so ranking of quarterbacks who are a little bit older that should retire after this season, I got 3 choices. You have to rank them in order of who should to who shouldn't. Ryan, Brady, Rodgers.
I think you just. I think
you
listed it right there. Ryan, Brady, and Rodgers.
Can you throw Russell Wilson in there?
They got too much money.
I know. A lot of writing to do.
Aaron Rodgers got too much money for next year.
Right.
He's going to play.
He'll play
somewhere. But I think it's over for Tom Brady.
I agree.
Tom Brady has lost the fastball. Now, that doesn't mean he can't play, but his mind and his arm aren't matching.
Right.
And then Matt Ryan I think Matt Ryan is broken. Yeah. You can't do what they've done to him in Indianapolis and try and keep picking him back up. And he wasn't the reason they lost against the Vikings.
No.
But Matt Ryan probably is not an everyday starter in the NFL anymore.
Well, and using the term broken, if that's a quarterback in his early 30s, there's still hope. You've kicked that can down the road with the career where do you feel extremely confident that there's a process that still remains that you can get it back that Matt Ryan had?
See, I think there's a point in your career where your head and your arm, they don't match up.
Wasn't it Scott
like his
who
decision?
said that?
Like his decision making is it's kind of gone south. And I think Matt Ryan's had a really good NFL career, but this is the end.
It's tough to watch.
Yeah, benched. Benched again. I mean, if they had Jonathan Taylor, if they had their offensive line, could things be different? Certainly they could. Could Frank Reich still be in there? Be different? Maybe.
Yeah.
But he's been on a yo-yo, and I think he's done. I just don't know how you come
I
back
think
to
he thinks
be a
he's done.
starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's had a good career. Is he a Hall of Fame guy? But he's had a good career, but unfortunately he'll always be attached to two games in his history. 28-3 and 33-0.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the next moment of Matt Ryan that you can think of off the top of your head.
You can't.
Yeah.
You know, there was
beating Virginia Tech with BC. That's about it.
I mean, there's MVP caliber seasons, sure. But when it comes down to something that he's going to be saddled with, and I know people even want to say choking, but not even choking, but being a part of those major leads, especially 28-3. 28-3 without question. That one is on the mountaintop, and then 33-0 is a distant second because of the game itself. But you always you want the guy to live it down, but he's not. And then last weekend's another reminder of it.
He can't come back from 28-3, but Kyle Shanahan's come back from 28-3.
Yes, he has. Right.
As the OC in that game.
And I was always hoping Matt Ryan could too. And you're at that point in your career. Do you really believe that you're going to be in that position again?
All right, next hour, Steve Sipple joins us. But after the top of the hour, here's a question for you. So a little bit of the discussion about offensive line and Matt Rule debunking what is the popular theme around here, and I think the right theme until we're proved differently, about where the offensive line is going. It almost seemed like it was the OC's fault. Will that apply when you start talking about the quarterback named Casey Thompson? That you like Casey Thompson, but he wasn't put in a good position by his OC. Because I think that's something that Matt Rule subtly alluded to about Donovan Raiola getting another opportunity is the OC and the OL did not match up. That's coming up in the next hour. Also, don't forget, ask us anything in about 90 minutes. Your chance to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. Just send in a question that has to do with nothing. Anything.
Preferably nothing.
Yes.
Preferably anything.
Off the wall. It could be, whatever you'd like it to be.
Bring it on.
Mind in the gutter. That's
Jimmy
what we're going
at 1620thezone.com. And then Brian Edwards as well on a Thursday where traffic is picked up here on Dodge. Moving well. Looks like Dodge is in good shape. Just bundle up. Roads appear to be okay.
Yeah.
But it is cold. It is 12 below outside right now. This would be a great marketing day for Five Below. You guys ever go in that shop?
I've never have, no. Oh, wait, no, I take that back. I have, yes. We bought some type of yard game. Yeah.
Bought a Christmas shirt with dinosaurs once from there.
When you were like 5?
No, when I was like 35, I think.
Got like a version of, you guys ever play Polish horseshoes?
Huh?
Yeah. We got a kind of a backyard plastic version of it.
Back to the shirt. Was it just like for a party? Or was it something like a goal to get a Christmas shirt with dinosaurs?
No, one of my jobs was working with the tiny people, and they seem to like dinosaurs, and so you speak their language when
you say tiny people. Are we talking about Utes?
Yes.
Okay.
Many Utes.
The 2 Utes?
More than 2 Utes.
I didn't know. I didn't want to read too much into what you're doing in Kansas. I don't know, maybe they're little people there are different from our little people. I don't know if you were like involved in midget wrestling, something like that.
Hey, you know what? Times are tough. You got to call something. Anything to keep the play-by-play dream alive.
One of the most famous midget wrestlers who I hired numerous times in Fort Myers calls Kansas City home.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Little Cato.
Little Cato.
I love it.
Have to check him out.
This is what I'm here for.
I said, do I call you? Do we call it midget wrestling? And he goes, yeah. He goes, some people that are small people are lawyers. I'm not smart enough to be a lawyer. I'm a wrestler. We're midgets. And I'm like, okay.
Got it. He said so.
That's a hell of a sense of humor right there.
Oh, yeah. He was fun.
Yeah.
The only requirement is I had to go to Walmart and get a trash can so he could put the guy that he was fighting into a trash can and close the lid. Other than that, it was an amazing event. I'm just telling
So he
you.
wasn't too demanding. That's pretty good.
No, he was great to work with.
That's funny.
Yeah, I need to check in. Little Cato lives in Kansas City, traveled all over the country.
Is he a Chiefs fan?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. He's a nice guy, had a good grip.
Yeah.
Very athletic.
That'd be at the top of my resume, right? Like, wait, you called midget wrestling? Absolutely.
That'd be quite the gig. Hey, wrestling's all about entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. So that would be entertaining.
Kind of made him mad. I said, hey, this can't be fake. I go, this has to be real. And he's like, huh? I was like, I'm just kidding with you. He's like, you're a funny guy. I wouldn't mind reconnecting with him.
Yeah, we get him on the show.
Though he cost me $15,000 though every appearance. But he brought fellow little people with him. Like I didn't have to go out and recruit little people from Southwest Florida to wrestle him. He said, we have a crew. And they all showed up, and about 12 of them were in a minivan, and it was incredible.
You didn't have to tap into the NIL collective.
Hey,
no.
They opened up the door to the minivan, and out came all the wrestlers, and I was like, be mature, don't say anything. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, this is a great time of the year. Doesn't matter if you've been naughty or nice, Santa Chuck has something for you. That's right. Santa Barkley's coming to town. He's delivering $20 million in gifts this holiday season to all FanDuel customers. Just check out your FanDuel app for no sweat same game parlay bonuses and all sorts of stuff that'll fill you with holiday cheer. New to FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a chance. And all you have to do is use the promo code ZONE. Trust me, you're going to want to do this to make your holiday season even more enjoyable. It's easy to use. It's safe, secure, and they're always hooking up with great promotions like Santa Barkley. And when you win, you're going to get paid instantly. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Get in the holiday spirit with $20 million in gifts from Santa Barkley. 21 over, President, Iowa. Prize total dependent on customer participation. Wager requirements apply. Gifts awarded as non-withdrawable site credit or free bets. See FanDuel.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Hey, it's Jan from Toyota, reminding you that Toyotathon is on and here to help make your holidays extra magical. How? Maybe it's driving in a Tacoma in search of the perfect hill to sled down. Popping from store to store in a Prius to find the perfect gift.
You did it. How'd you know?
Or it could be something much more simple, like surprising loved ones in a RAV4 hybrid.
You made it, Bobby! You're all grown up!
And seeing their faces light up when you pull up to their home. Stop by Toyotathon and make this holiday one to remember. It's the perfect opportunity to gather with your friends and family, both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Current offers on these vehicles end November 30th. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 3rd. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Come visit Omaha's Little Corner of France for mouth-watering appetizers and entrees, plus melt-in-your-mouth desserts. Pick up your holiday gift cards today or reserve their party room for your holiday gatherings. Les Voltaire will make you feel right at home, just like they've been doing for more than 2 decades. Les Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in the Pepperwood Village, and at lesvoltaireomaha.com. Make New Year's reservations now for their 5:30 or 8:30 seatings. More info at levoltaireomaha.com.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Smith for Ted and Wally's. We want to wish you a happy holidays and, of course, a happy new year as well. One of the great things about shopping in Omaha is so many great places based on tradition, and that's what Ted and Wally's is. Over 35 years, over 3,000 flavors with quality products, and making sure you know what they do is the old-fashioned way, giving you the best of ice cream. So as you're having a happy holiday, whether you're eating some ice cream or you're eating some cake, you need ice cream with it. Head over to Ted and Wally's, 2 locations, Benson and the Old Market, and tell them Severe sent you.
Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers exactly what you want. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets when you sign up using our promo code 1620. That's right, $2,500 back if your first bet doesn't win. That's up to $2,500 back. It's the perfect time to start with FanDuel and Santa Barkley.
John, we got a triple header of games coming up on Christmas in the NFL and so much more. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Put in our promo code 1620 for your no-sweat first bet for up to $2,500 via Santa Barkley. Once again, that promo code 1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. 1 device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, time-saving traffic center. We're still getting reports of that accident along the entrance ramp of I-680 near exit 446, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Along center, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 192nd to 175th, and on L, be prepared for some pretty significant delays from 96th to 72nd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call John at 402-973-0613.
Visit Sid Dillon Chevrolet to shop inventory or to order your new vehicle. And we're your Chevrolet Business Elite dealer offering medium-duty trucks and low-cab forwards.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Chevy, find new roads.
At Dingman's Collision Center, you voted them first place in Best in Omaha for the past 17 years. So they want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and their incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, they'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. If you have money sitting in your flex plan or in your health savings account, it is time for an early holiday gift for yourself. I am talking about LASIK with my friends at Kugler Vision. Visit their website today, kuglervision.com. Let them know that you are sick of bad vision and you are ready to see if you qualify to have one of their 7 vision correction procedures. 402-558-2211 or online at kuglervision.com.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kids, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street, right next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
Coming up tonight downtown, Creighton is back. They're finally playing at home. They play Butler tonight. Jays are an 8.5-point favorite. Ryan Kalkbrenner is expected to be back. How much he will play, how that will affect Frederick King, we will see. Definitely needs to affect them as a whole, as it is a must-win game. Have you done any of the math post non-con, Nick, on what it will take for Creighton to make sure they're in the NCAA tournament? Because if you look at Joe Lenardi's mock bracket, which is always pretty spot on the 22nd of December, he has Creighton as the last team in.
Mm-hmm.
Our good friend Shelby Mass from bracketwag.com does it for USA Today. I noticed he has Creighton has one of the last 4 teams in.
Wow.
That's what happens. You lose 6 in a row. You fall from being a 2 or a 3 seed to you're scrapping to get into the tournament. But they begin Big East play at home tonight. So it's Big East play from here on out. You had Marquette on Friday. You're already behind 0-1. Have you done the math on what it will take for Creighton to make sure they're in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, you're looking at, all right, so 12 games in, you're looking at better than a 500 in conference. I would say, what's the total remaining games here? Pull this up here. So the total, and a lot of this obviously is going to have to do with the Big East, the strength of schedule and all of that. So I understand that. So you're looking at, we got 10, like, is there 16 games? What we got, 20 games left? 20 conference games, right?
You play 20 conference games. You got 19 left.
Okay, so 19 left.
And you're already 0-1.
0-1, so you're looking at, I would say 12-7. So
you'd finish 12-8 in the conference?
Yeah.
See, I think you have to get to, and 12-13 might be able to do it as long as there's no bad losses.
And there's the caveat there.
Like, you can't lose to Georgetown.
Right.
Which, gave UConn a better game than I thought the other night, but UConn is at the top of the Big East. Providence, I mean, death taxes and Ed Cooley. You've already seen what Marquette can do. Villanova appears to be getting it right. They hit the gas yesterday against St. John's, and all of a sudden Villanova has won 5 in a row. Oh, by the way, North Carolina might be okay. They won 4 in a row, and Jawan went on a tirade last night. I think you're looking at – I would feel comfortable to do this route. If you want to do the math to get Creighton to the NCAA tournament, 13-7 in your conference overall, 13-7, no bad losses, and you don't go one and done in New York City.
Yep.
That could be enough to get you into the tournament. Not saying you're going to be back in, the 7, 8, 9 range. You might get in as a 12, but no bad losses in the Big East, and you have to find a way. I would feel more comfortable getting to 13 in the conference play. But here's so you got to grab 3 of those in your next 3 games because they're at home. You haven't played at home. The schedule is what it is. You did it yourself. Is you win tonight against Butler. You win on Christmas Day against DePaul. You win against Seton Hall. All very manageable.
Yeah.
But here's where we'll really find out about where Creighton is at. If they're over this 6-game losing streak, Kalkbrenner's back, the world is great, the sun is out, and the snow is melting. After that Seton Hall game on the 3rd, you play at UConn. I mean, UConn's best team in the Big East. Then you go and you play Xavier. Then you come home and you play Providence. And then you go to a place where Butler could be 0 for the season, but Creighton doesn't play well at Hinkle Fieldhouse. That's an important 4-game stretch right there after you get through with these 3 that when you go to bed on the night of January 3rd, you must be 3-1 in the conference.
In that stretch right there. In that stretch you just laid out. At UConn, at Xavier, Providence, and at Butler. 2-2 bare minimum.
Yeah,
I mean, you can go 1-3 in that stretch. My gosh,
you can't lose. Like Butler would be a bad loss.
It would be.
I think Providence is better than we thought. UConn wouldn't be a bad loss, but you're going to need a good win or 2 along the way.
And there's the plus side of that stretch. You're most likely, you're getting at least a quality win in there. But if you go 1-3 in that stretch, man, that is tough.
You're in full scramble mode.
Yeah, that's tough.
But first and foremost, you got to be 3-1. You got to win the next 3 games. And the night they play Butler as an 8.5-point favorite. Pre-game with Ravi, play-by-play with John, post-game with Jimmy. I know it's not like the Beatles, but you got Ravi, John, and Jimmy.
What we got.
That sounds like an interesting 3-piece band. Ravi, John, and Jimmy.
Polkas from the Heartland.
And people going, how's Ravi fit in with a John and a Jimmy? Ravi's the drummer.
Okay, there you go.
Huh.
John's your lead man. He's your front man. He's your front man.
And then Jimmy's on bass.
Yep.
John's the lead singer.
But Jimmy's got some moves. Steve
Sipple going to join us at the bottom of the hour.
Yes, he had moves.
Sip's got moves.
Oh, yeah.
Sip is all in on Matt Rule. Sip is more than fully hussed. He's going to have to take some drugs. I mean, he is sucking him up some Charles Thompson, some Matt Rule.
Okay.
But speaking of Charles' son, Casey, something or nothing here. I don't want to read into this without consultation from both of you. Matt Rule loves him some Jeff Sims.
Yeah.
Not saying he's going to play favorites because I'm going to tell you, Mr. Rule, past history tells you play favorites, you'll lose at Nebraska. That he didn't really go there much with Casey's future.
Yep.
So we know that Casey, by the way, Casey is active on social media. Like, if you get into a conversation with him somewhere on one of his platforms, he'll engage with you. And if you want to go there about a quarterback competition, he will acknowledge that competition or a battle makes people better. But there's a couple things we don't know about Casey Thompson. I don't know for sure. Has he already had surgery?
I don't know.
There's the timeline of he's not going to be available for spring. But do we know if he's had surgery yet? And then he has not publicly said he's coming back, even though now it's assumed, because I don't think Dad would tell Sip or BC over 24/7 that Casey's coming back and then not come back. But I don't think Matt Rule really wanted to go there yesterday. And it may be just a case he doesn't know much about Casey because they have been on the road. And so his interaction with him has been very brief. Maybe that's the case. But he kind of played off any talk of Casey Thompson and his future. Not as a negative, but he didn't really go there. So I was wondering, something or nothing?
Something from the standpoint, okay, this is what I gathered from that, because I'm catching the same thing when he talked about Jeff Sims, and I get it. It's a day to really talk about the new additions to your roster, whether it be through the transfer portal or high school players. You talk more about them, and then you get asked about your current roster, and you're going to probably keep that a little bit more limited. But here's the other thing that you bring up, the fact that we haven't heard from Casey officially. We've heard more from his dad. Is this as simple as Matt Rule just letting Casey sort of have that platform first and foremost before he really goes all in? Because does Matt Rule know he is 100% in? I would think he does, but I feel like I'm not going to get too far down the road on Casey, what he means to us and what he can do, until he lets you all in on what's going on. Not his father. And that's not a whole, hey, helicopter father. I don't know. I'm not even trying to say that. I just think it's as simple as trying to give Casey the platform and the respect that he feels he needs to let people know what he's doing. And then once that's been made official from Casey, you ask Matt Rule about him again, maybe you get a little bit more of the thought and the appreciation that Matt Rule might have for Casey.
So right now, Matt Rule, yes, I agree. Matt Rule right now probably knows more about Jeff Sims than he does about Casey Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot in a transition where you don't really have time to sift through your current roster because you're in a whirlwind of recruiting and acquiring players. But yesterday, in his discussion about why he retained Donovan Raiola and that the offensive line is better than we all think, which you have to say. You can't crush guys in that room. You have to say that. Maybe you fully believe it, maybe you don't. But the key to winning in 23 is the 5 guys are going to start on the offensive line. So you can't throw them under the bus. And you are not going to throw the former head coach under the bus. That's pretty clear. Again, Matt Rule speaks like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
His stamp is already on this program. It's his program. It wasn't Scott Frost's program. It's not still Scott Frost's program. It's his program. I enjoyed that yesterday. His delivery in explaining that. The guy that I think that he is throwing under the bus and will kick down the Interstate 80 is Mark Whipple. Because I'm reading into his comments about keeping Donovan Raiola that it was more of the OC and the OL were not on the same page. So does he use the same line of thinking if you're dissecting Casey Thompson's game? But here's what I fully believe, that we're going to have some fun here with a quarterback battle. There will be a real battle. So pick your quarterback right now. Sure, a lot of people pick Casey. And
so we know more.
And this is great for Casey because we got competition, and I think it will be intense. Now, I have a lot of questions about Jeff Sims. Has he run? Is he big? Is he 6'4"? Is he 220 plus? Can he, the rigors of quarterback run game, getting beat up? Yeah, he could take hits, but he hasn't played a full season. And he's got an arm that he knows is a big boy arm, and he likes to show it off and he'll throw into tight windows. And he has fairly good accuracy, but he has 23 interceptions and 30 touchdown passes in 23 games. Is his decision making. Is Marcus Satterfield going to help everybody in that room first and foremost with their decision making? Because I think Matt Rule looks at his quarterbacks and says, Jeff Sims is a guy I can get to the NFL. Does he feel the same way about Casey Thompson, or he just doesn't know enough about him?
Yeah.
But here's whatever his comments are about quarterback. I firmly believe, and this is great for everybody involved, that Nebraska will have a true quarterback battle that will begin in spring, even if one guy can't fully go through it. That this will be an intense battle between two guys to have the best player on the field. And I love the comment by Casey Thompson. I mean, he hasn't said anything publicly, but he will pop in on some social media and respond to fans that he said battle is great for everybody, but he gives you the impression that it's his job. That's great. That's great. It was very enlightening to hear Matt Rule go deep into what his belief is about Jeff Sims, because I think our belief about him watching Georgia Tech is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's approaching it from the NFL eye instead of the college football eye, and thinking down the road, not currently.
Yeah, that's interesting too. The Casey confidence, that type of confidence, that gets you on a schedule poster, by the way. He's got to be he's got to go in that way. He's got to feel that way. If you're coming back for your umpteenth year of college, you're doing so kind of like his father said, not to sit back, not to sit out, but to still be the guy. So that mentality makes absolute 100% sense. Now, listening to Matt Rule talk about Sims, and for the very little that I've seen him, and judging more on stats, I was interested on how long that Matt Rule has followed Sims, and B, you mentioned the decision-making. Matt Rule is very high on Jeff Sims. When he was talking about the skill set and the strengths of Jeff Sims, he talked about the decision-making, which I think is interesting because, look, we can all just be, stat sheet warriors and draw a conclusion off of that, which anybody will tell you you shouldn't do that. But even in some of the games that you've ever watched him, you maybe question that part of him because from a physical standpoint, my gosh, he checks off a lot of boxes there. It is, as we see this in the pro level and the collegiate level, decision-making, especially in high-leverage moments. Is that an area that you're confident in? And so I think it's interesting you bring up Matt Rule's evaluation possibly being through the NFL eye as opposed to the college eye, which would lead me to believe the potential, not necessarily what's there, what we've seen in the body of work in college football, but the potential. Is that how Matt Rule sort of sees this thing going? And again, then there's a trickle-down effect. Then that goes to your offensive line. Who's he throwing to? All of those things. The competition, going from an ACC schedule to a Big Ten schedule. But I did find it interesting where a lot of us would be like, oh, okay, the decision-making maybe doesn't seem to be great or where you'd want it to be. Matt Rule said pretty much the exact opposite.
I mean, does he think that he can fix Jeff Sims?
That's kind of what I'm gathering.
And what can he fix on Casey Thompson? Because Casey Thompson isn't a polished product either.
Mm-mm.
Maybe the fixing of Casey Thompson is, you know what? You were handcuffed by an OC. We're going to take the handcuffs off and we're going to see if you can run the football. Mm-hmm. Instead of don't run because, hey, we do have a guy that's right behind you. It was, you could tell that one of the recruits yesterday, not named Eric Fields, who if you're still wondering why Eric Fields was underrated out of Oklahoma and how come nobody was on him, just listen to the tone of the coaches that spoke of him, and you go back and take another look. I mean, he's the guy in this class that I go, this might be the gem if this pans out. But next to Eric Fields, Jeff Sims was the guy that I got the sense from Matt Rule that he got most excited about.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a real quarterback competition, not a fake one where it's Martinez against Jebbia and you know what the end result's going to be. This will be a real quarterback competition. And I think that will benefit Casey Thompson greatly. It's, hey, I was in a quarterback competition last spring, but
and a quote quarterback competition.
Dudes, let's be honest. And it's gonna force him to clean up his game a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think as a result, Casey Thompson will be the starting quarterback, and it will make that position better at Nebraska. And it will also make probably that position better because they will have more confidence in the guy that's behind him. If they either have to use two quarterbacks, little gadget, in red zone running, Jeff Sims comes in and on the goal line is running the football at 6'4", 220, a thick quarterback.
Right.
Or if our guy goes down and both guys have never completed a full season, we feel better about our depth this year than you guys felt about your depth last year if your number one guy went down.
Yeah, and from the competition standpoint, this is where I think the value of Casey's ability to process the situation, I think, is extremely beneficial for him. That's the one thing that I've always taken away from him. I know a lot of people have too. When you listen to him talk, he's plugged in and in all different matters. And I'm sure Casey realizes, he's a big boy. realizes that, yeah, this is going to, as you pointed out, it's going to be a true competition. So how do I get myself in a position, even especially if I'm going to miss some actual physical reps, get myself in a position to where I haven't really lost any type of steam? And he'll figure out a way, and he'll make it known to the coaching staff that he. That's what I'm excited to see. At least in our group, that was impromptu, by the way. When Matt Rule talked about him, he wasn't even asked directly about him, but as he was talking about the recruits and the developmental part of it, and he lit up when he started talking about Fields.
I don't know what people in Oklahoma were missing. I mean, did he swear in class one day? It's not like he was playing at a school of 5 people. Right. I mean, he played in a 5A school. That's a
big deal down there.
It's the second largest class in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Watch him play a game. Again, he's not playing against the competition. Appears to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what people were missing on him. I think he's the gem of this class, but he will now become the poster child of development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you say, "Hey, Matt Rule, give me the D," he'll go, "I'll give you EF," and that's Eric Field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well played.
Just to hear the excitement in coaches' voices, because this day everybody gets the same kind of love.
Yeah.
Kai Wallen, who kind of people have forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the class. Passing glance, but everybody gets try and have the same enthusiasm.
Yeah.
There was just something different when they got to him talking about what his future could be. All right, Stephen M. Sipple, his future will be joining Nick and myself next hour. Ask Us Anything, and Brian Edwards as well. Don't forget we have Thursday night football between Jacksonville and the Jets. That is a big game. Loser probably done. Winner still alive. Jacksonville could make the playoffs. Doug Peterson, year 2.
Wow. Trevor Lawrence, year 2.
Trevor Lawrence against Zach Wilson. Remember, you had Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence all came in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor Lawrence was probably the one that you went, not so much. Doug Peterson came along at the right time for him, and he'll be on display tonight in the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium. 1.5-point favorite are the Jets in that game, and the Jets are scuttling a little bit. But should be a good game. When that game was on the schedule, you think Al Michaels went, for the love of God, I want to go back to NBC.
Yep.
He was like, really? Really? I'm going to have to be talking about an Amazon show watching the Jags and the Jets play right before Christmas.
This late in the season? Yeah.
Al, that's going to be one of the better games of the weekend. So that's coming up tonight. We'll get into that with Brian Edwards coming up at the tail end of the show. Sip is next on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Connie Mack only won 9 pennants in his 55 years as a manager. What a bum.
Could you imagine sports radio in the time of Connie Mack? Boy, I tell you, this Connie Mack guy just can't get it done. Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump.
Only 5 World Series.
Connie Mack, more like Connie Hack. Am I right?
That's exactly how they talked.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2. On 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from a Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Windy and extremely cold Thursday. Wind chill warning remains in effect throughout the day. Watch out for areas of blowing snow with northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. Afternoon highs will stay below zero with wind chills 30 to 40 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC Heating, Plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have one accident to report that has 2 left lanes blocked along westbound Dodge near 120th Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to 9680, and you can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a bit of a slowdown from 60th to 42nd. Then along L Street, be prepared for a bit of a delay from the I-80 ramps all the way to 79th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Looking for a career, not a job? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. You'll receive top pay, fully funded family health care, and retirement benefits. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Michael at 402-810-0789.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Jan from Toyota, reminding you that Toyotathon is on and here to help make your holidays extra magical. How? Maybe it's driving in a Tacoma in search of the perfect hill to sled down. Hopping from store to store in a Prius to find the perfect gift. You did it. How'd you know? Or it could be something much more simple, like surprising loved ones in a RAV4 hybrid.
You made it, Bobby! You're all grown up!
And seeing their faces light up when you pull up to their home. Stop by Toyotathon and make this holiday one to remember. It's the perfect opportunity to gather with your friends and family, both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Current offers on these vehicles end November 30th. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 3rd. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
When it comes to e-juice, 42 Degrees always promised that we would never sell any e-juice that wasn't manufactured under controlled conditions. We never mix juice ourselves or add nicotine. Why? Because we won't take a chance with your health. So when it comes to premium e-juice that tastes great and is available in disposables or bottles, then check out our e-juice department and find out why 42 Degrees is your source for all your e-juice needs. Buy your mom's house.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. In their final non-conference game of the season, the Maverick men's basketball team was down 67-45 by Northern Colorado last Friday night. The Omaha men officially end their non-conference slate at 5-6. The Omaha baseball team has officially released its spring schedule. They'll play 25 home games at Tal Anderson Field for the 2023 season. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
I had to look to see if Skee-Lo had any other big hits besides "I Wish."
I don't recall
I
one.
don't think so.
No, because this it's almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
95.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
I see what you're doing there. Things were good at 95 around here.
Hey.
I also thought you were doing this because this was something I just saw on TV. It's that time of the year, Christmas, ugly sweaters. You dress very festive. Connor was in here very festive. None of us are very festive today.
We're just trying to stay warm today.
Hoodie.
Yes. Yeah, you don't
Hoodie.
warmth over festive.
Yep.
But you have coaches like Omaha played a couple years ago a game right before Christmas.
Yeah.
And DH had this incredible suit on, this Christmas suit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what Rick Barnes had yesterday?
I did not.
So Rick Barnes was wearing, I don't know if it was a sweater or like a partial hoodie without the hood, but he had the one that has the Christmas lights on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the better was Tom Izzo.
That's what I saw.
Got a technical yesterday dressed as an elf.
It's one,
like if
it's one thing to be Tom Izzo dressed as an elf, but to get is that the ultimate shameful moment when you lean into the holiday decor? And I remember DH's outfit. If he gets a technical in that thing, there's there's a little bit more shame that comes along with the normal shame of getting a tee.
I would have loved to get run wearing that.
Like, how do you not laugh as an official when Tom Izzo? How can you take him serious when he's wearing the elf sweater and he's arguing with him? But they banged him with a technical. They were playing Oakland last night.
I'm with you. The official, when you go up to approach a coach that is completely out of character with something like that. Maybe not. I don't know Tom Izzo. I mean, maybe that's right in his wheelhouse. You go up, you're about, it's usually a little heated. You give him the tea, and then you just kind of look at the green sweater, and you're like, okay, sorry, man.
That's a lot of F-bombs for an elf.
I can't do this. Good on Tom, though.
Elves get after it. I mean, have you seen the R-rated version of Will Ferrell's movie?
Very true.
The R-rated version of Elf?
Yeah. Apparently there is one that exists. There are outtakes where Will Ferrell just goes off.
Oh, that'd be... I need to see that now.
But the reason that he wore the little elf sweater, which is such a perfect character for Tom Izzo. So the Oakland coach, Greg Campy, who's been there forever, treats every game with an ugly sweater. That's just part of his wardrobe is he wears sweaters, and they usually are god-awful looking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that his wife goes, I don't dress him. He leaves the house on his own. When he go on road trips, he packs those because that's been his thing.
Louis
so that's why,
Carnesecca.
So Izzo, 4 days before Christmas, I'm going to wear an ugly sweater. And so somebody picked out a little elf costume for Izzo. Now, what would have been better if he would have worn the full elf costume?
Right.
Maybe we had the booties and the pants.
And the hat.
Yeah.
And gets ejected in the first half.
Does he have the ears? Does he go full on ears too?
He got to. And then he goes storming off. He stomps his feet as he's
an ear falls off. God dang it. Give me my ear back.
Band
Don't want anybody slipping on that.
But you got an elf that is chirping in your ear as an official, and you turn to tee him up, and you got to stare at him while he's wearing the elf sweater. I'm like,
he's got a candy cane in his holster too. I'm looking at it right now.
So you blow your whistle and you turn your head while you're trying not to laugh and bang him with a tee.
Right.
I just picture Higgy going, "Are you kidding me?"
It's awesome.
We are efforting Stephen M. Sipple. Sip's usually on at 8:30. But Sip usually picks up his phone at 8:42, and he goes, "Oh, I missed you guys. Get you at the top."
It's cold.
Another thing happened yesterday as I was scrolling the old internet between recruiting news. Did you guys see that Jeannie Buss is engaged?
Did not.
Again? No.
And not to Phil Jackson.
Not to Phil Jackson. So the kids have been running the Lakers for over a decade now.
Right.
Not so good. Pull up the picture. I'm gonna quiz you here.
Right.
Pull up you're gonna see the headline, so this probably gives it away. So Jeannie Buss, and I've not been following her love life. Not that I would have reason to, because she broke Phil Jackson's heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
Now, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so she is engaged to somebody who got their start by being on Jim Rome's Smack Off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So Jay Moore, who was a comedian and then became like a sports anchor type, he's not recognizable in the picture.
No, not at all.
I don't think he's working out as much.
No. Maybe the holidays have consumed him.
But apparently him and Jeannie Buss have been together for a while, and they're madly in love, and now they are engaged. And I did not recognize him. I remember,
like
Jay
him.
Moore. Yeah.
No, it really doesn't.
Doesn't look like he's calling Smack Off anymore.
No.
Or being on the Smack Off. Oh, and that was a big deal.
What? Oh, gosh.
I would.
Wow.
I would make when they had the Smack Off. That's the only time I'd listen to the entire Rome show. But
Did you ever see Go?
Jay Moore finished like 4th or 5th, and that's where he got to start.
Did you ever see the movie Go?
No.
Okay.
I remember Go. Yeah.
He was in that, and
99.
then of course Jerry Maguire. But yeah, the
Jerry Maguire, Jay Moore.
That's who I remember.
To the Jeannie Buss engagement picture.
Yes.
Probably don't recognize him.
It's very, very
Val Kilmer
different.
thinks he's not aging well.
It is Bob Sugar.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like Bob Sugar anymore.
I mean, it looks like he got into a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Hold on here.
Bob
Hold
Henson.
on. Hold on.
Hey.
Time out. I got to defend Val Kilmer here. Val Kilmer's had some health issues.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Did you?
So I'm going to defend Val Kilmer. I thought that was a pretty good moment in Maverick.
Yes, I was just
when
going to
he
say
made a cameo.
that part, and his inability to speak like that tugged at your heartstrings a little bit. Knowing the relationship between one Maverick and Iceman after the first. Did I say Iceman? Iceman. After the first one, how they come together. Rivalries appreciate each other. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, it's okay. You can give it away.
Well, no, he can't talk in it. He's got a condition. He can't talk. So he communicates, by writing stuff down and typing. It's just
People by now have seen it, haven't they?
I feel like if you haven't by now, you probably aren't, even with your best intentions. Unless you just wanted to avoid the theater, because it's now, I think, available.
I believe it's out on Paramount.
Yeah.
You can watch on Paramount.
It's on the 2.
So is that where you are, Jimmy? You just didn't want to see it in the theater?
No, it wasn't that. I wanted to see it in the theater. It's just all the whole moving and all that. It was just summer was a mess.
Yeah, stuff happens. That was a movie you had to see in the theater, I feel like. But anyway.
Which is what I said.
But either way, Jay Moore.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Jay Moore. I mean, good for both of them in love during the holidays.
Will he be making decisions? Like, will he make a decision on what they're going to do with
he dabbles in the sports market.
Patrick Beverly?
Maybe.
At this rate, maybe he can run the Lakers. Can't go much worse.
What's his take on LeBron? Are they tight?
LeBron can do whatever he wants. That should be his take.
Well, it's going to have to be.
Hey, LeBron's not their problem.
No, but I'm just saying.
The rest of their roster and adding Patrick Beverly is a problem. Heck, even Russell Westbrook has turned out to be okay in his 6-man role.
Which I never thought would work.
A lot of people didn't, but he's been okay there. 8:43. Next hour, we will have Ask Us Anything for the final time before Christmas. A chance to win a gift card to Oscar's Pizza and Grill. Anything goes. The question last week that I got asked back to me through the weekend was, who would you rather have as a best friend? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Frosty the Snowman?
You asked me that question.
It's a good question.
Again, with one of them, you only have to be friends with them for 1 month.
Yeah.
And then they disappear for 11 months, and then they come back. So if you're into that relationship with people, that they just come and go.
Yeah.
You're all over Frosty.
It's very telling of who you are when it comes to your social interactions, too. I went with Frosty because I said Rudolph is... I like to surround myself with positive people.
I believe you said Rudolph is complicated.
He's complicated, and he's a bit of a downer. He's a bit of a downer.
I would think Rudolph would have drove a friend to work this morning if they couldn't get out of their neighborhood.
Right, he would have. Now, he's the guy that if you're, need a bailout, you call him. Yeah, Rudolph is probably going to help you out, but then on the ride home, he's going to just put all of his stuff on you.
Yeah.
You have to deal with like can't participate in reindeer games and stuff.
What are you guys doing canceling Christmas? Now we got Rudolph has issues?
You've watched it, right? You've seen Rudolph, how he is, until Santa gives him the vote of confidence. He's a downer. The real man makes his own luck. Rudolph never took the deer by the horns, if you will.
Well, if you don't have Rudolph, then what do you have?
Well, it's true. I'm glad he had a breakthrough. But does anybody know? Is he now, beaming with confidence? Is he a much more positive little reindeer? I don't know.
Does he have an NIL deal after
Do we have?
Christmas?
He probably has his own barn in the North Pole.
Yeah. Do we have the after story of Rudolph? We know how it got to that. Do we have the after story? Where are they now? I'd like to know.
True Hollywood story. What happened to Rudolph?
The reindeer never ages.
Frosty's not complicated though.
You're here and then you're gone.
Yeah.
Frosty seems like he'd throw a hell of a December tailgate party. Just come over to Frosty's.
Oh, can you imagine the 24 hours leading into the next above freezing day? That's going to be a rager.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Would you feel bad throwing a snowball at Frosty the Snowman?
I think he'd encourage it.
Yeah, no. I think it adds to his insulation.
Yeah.
He's happy about it.
This is what Ask Us Anything is, and that's coming up at 9:30. You have a chance. We have a spot maybe open if it's a good enough question. Jimmy at 1620 The Zone.
Now we already got a couple. I encourage more.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
With almost everything in life, you have choices. You can pick a lot, a little, or somewhere in the middle. So shouldn't there be an internet plan that's just as clever? One that allows you to add TV or home automation whenever. That's why Cox now offers flexible internet plans, giving you all the services you desire at nothing you don't require. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy found at cox.com/policies. Restrictions apply.
He's back. Old Man Winter has arrived. If you notice the cold air leaking through your home's windows, give J-Tech Construction a call for a free estimate. Keep winter cold outdoors where it belongs. Let the official exterior experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction, upgrade you to triple pane replacement windows and start saving money on your energy bills. The cold doesn't have to mean higher heating costs. Get all the details by going to yourexteriorexperts.com. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers exactly what you want. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets when you sign up using our promo code 1620. That's right, $2,500 back if your first bet doesn't win. That's up to $2,500 back. It's the perfect time to start with FanDuel and Santa Barkley.
John, we got a triple header of games coming up on Christmas in the NFL and so much more. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Put in our promo code 1620 for your no-sweat first bet for up to $2,500 via Santa Barkley. Once again, that promo code 1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Come visit Omaha's little corner of France for mouth-watering appetizers and entrees, plus melt-in-your-mouth desserts. Pick up your holiday gift cards today or reserve their party room for your holiday gatherings. Les Voltaire will make you feel right at home, just like they've been doing for more than 2 decades. Les Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in the Pepperwood Village, and at lesvoltaireomaha.com. Make New Year's reservations now for their 5:30 or 8:30 seatings. More info at levoltaireomaha.com.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. Duncan McGuire led all of men's college soccer in goals scored in 2022, and his 9 postseason goals helped the Blue Jays into the College Cup. McGuire is now one of 3 finalists for the Mac Herman Trophy for the nation's best soccer player. The trophy will be announced at the Missouri Athletic Club in St. Louis on January 6th. If McGuire wins, he will be the school's second, along with McGuire's head coach, Johnny Torres, who won the honor in 1997.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Holiday shopping? Back by popular demand, stop by Cops at 72nd and Jones, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 180th and Center to grab a bite and buy a gift card. Cops gift cards are sure to please. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salad, and tasty charred wings with a variety of homemade sauces. They even offer keto crusts. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cops, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. 72nd and Jones, the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or click copspizza.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Warm thoughts on a bitterly cold Thursday morning. There's Nick, Jimmy, and Gary.
Just getting ready for your travel. Even though you said it's going to be
to-
chilly down there.
This would be nice to be in Key West right about now. You know, Mike Leach was going to be in Key West for almost all of January.
Is that typical?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
spends, I would say, he probably spends spent 2 months out of the year in Key West.
He and
Yeah,
Jimmy Johnson, always down there.
Everybody knew Mike Leach. But yeah, once kind of recruiting was over, he would go down to Key West for January. He'd be down there for part of February, and then in the summer, like July, you might be able to run into Mike Leach. Speaking of that, if you have not, you get a chance to either watch the full thing or some highlights. His memorial at Mississippi State the other day, wow. There are some great stories told.
Oh, I can imagine.
Bob Stoops told some really good stories, but I will tell you the one that was really, you were gutted. Gardner Minshew, who was his quarterback at Washington State.
Yeah.
Who, middle of a week where Gardner Minshew is back to probably starting against the Cowboys, told some great stories. It was fitting. It was a celebration of life. So if you get a chance, but whenever I hear Jimmy Buffett, I always think of Key West and, of course, Mike Leach. All right, coming up in the next hour, as I mentioned, Brian Edwards will be by. We do have football tonight between the Jets and the Jags. I was looking, so now I'm sifting through rankings, like composite rankings. You know an organization. So let me first say, because a lot of those guys are guests on our show. Kudos to all the fellows over at On3, 24/7, Hail Varsity, and Rivals. So the 4 major websites that cover Nebraska football and to cover recruiting, to all of them, great job.
Yep.
Great job. And now you're looking at the composite rankings, and Nebraska is 28th, that's impressive to jump into the 20s. Because I thought they could get to the 30s, but keeping Malachi Coleman helped them a ton in terms of rankings.
Right.
You know, an organization, when it comes to covering college football recruiting, that because they gutted that department with cutbacks, man, ESPN has fallen off the map.
Mm-hmm.
When Jeremy Crabtree was there, and Mitch Sherman was there before he went to the Athletic, they had some pretty good recruiting people.
Yep.
It wasn't Lugan.
Luganville.
Yeah, Luganville is still there.
Yeah, but
they don't have as many. They really, really cut way back on their football recruiting, and thus their rankings of players is so far off compared to others. I don't know. I mean, ESPN basically said, "Hey, everybody else, you do your new recruiting. We're going to pass on it."
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate because they used to be in the mix. I mean, they were one of the top 3 in my opinion. But now I don't even go to them. I don't even pay attention to them.
Yeah, the ESPN Top 300 and just usually a lot of this was done in February when they were a little bit more full staff when they'd have the one signing day. You could even look at the rankings from ESPN and be like, okay, it's something. Probably the last thing I look at. I mean, it really is probably the last thing I look at right now. 24/7 Sports, Rivals, because there it is. As you point out, when you invest that much into it, these are the guys that are putting in the legwork. ESPN, it's just, well, we have to do it. I mean, it's still something we have to do, but
your heart's not in it.
Are you really putting that investment into it right
I think they said, you know what, our bigger investment is the NFL
Sure,
draft.
and I get that.
We have Kuiper, we have McShay.
Right, totally get that. But yeah, I mean, their rankings and the overall player rankings, like, oh, this guy's at ESPN Top 300. What does that mean in 2022 and the 23 as it did in 2012?
So a couple of takeaways from recruiting rankings. One, whatever you think of Deion U, they've accomplished something at Colorado. They're not going to have to worry about being on the Pac-12 network next year. The Nebraska-Colorado game will find a way into a major time slot.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now, big noon kickoff is going to be there, but are they going to want a 10 a.m. kickoff in Boulder? Or will it be like a doubleheader day on Fox, and it's the second day.
Yeah, they can do the 2 or 3 o'clock game.
So Colorado is all of a sudden and amazing. They were 1-11 last year. Colorado is going to have some of the best time slots.
Yeah,
they're going to be 1-11 again. I mean, they got their quarterback, and they got one of their top draft prospects that they've had in a long time on campus. But they're going to play in a lot of really good spots for TV because of one guy. For prime.
Every time slot's prime time.
Somebody else who I think will get some prime spots, and I'm going to get slimy with y'all. And this is, I keep saying, the SEC and the Big Ten are running college football, and good luck trying to break that. All you have to do is look at recruiting yesterday. I mean, a guy who I have a man crush on Shane Beamer. South Carolina football is on the come. Okay, and I like Shane Beamer a lot. They recruited really well. He took a swipe at Maryland. They went into D.C. and recruited into the DMV. And he said, people want to come to the SEC because we have full stadiums. Why would you go to Maryland?
Yeah.
Now, he didn't say that word for word, but he intimated that. Yeah. But you look at like those two programs and the way they recruited and the power of, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Miami, Ohio State are the top 5. So 3 of the 5, really kind of 4 of the 5 are in Big Ten SEC. Auburn, for example. This just shows you at a place like Auburn, the 3 of us could go in there and probably recruit if you put something into it.
Yeah.
You can get all slimy and feel dirty with Hugh Freeze, but he was hired for a reason. The man can recruit. They went from having the 60th ranked class to they're going to end up in the top 20.
Yeah.
More than likely. Some places have them 16, some 24/7 has them 19. 20th. Hugh Freeze can recruit. Now, what's the question I asked right when we started today? A lot of guys can recruit.
The D.
Well, before you get the D, let's go into the kitchen. Can you cook the food?
Yeah.
That's the next question about Matt Rule. Matt Rule has put together an intriguing class. Now, can he cook the food? That's like Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze can go out and recruit and, wheel and deal. Can he cook the food? But the class that really it's weird to say, might be a disappointment is Ohio State. Ryan Day has had a weird month. I think he's still shook from what happened against Michigan. They're going to be 45-23. And again, this is crazy to say. Title this year, I thought Stroud would win the Heisman. I made that statement back in the summer. I thought it felt pretty safe. But they had a weird year. They had injuries. And then what Ryan Day is paid to do at Ohio State is to beat Michigan, win a Big Ten championship, go to the playoff. He did one of those 3. You're paid a lot of money to do those three things. But Ryan Day seems to just be off. Now, there are 125 other teams in the country that would take the number 5 recruiting class.
And to be, quote, off, yeah.
And just only have 1 5-star.
Yeah, one.
But it almost seems like maybe a disappointment that this class isn't like overwhelming typical Ohio State. Because I can't get 45-23 out of my head. And then I can't get the crazy comment that he made yesterday. Here's a guy, what is he? 40? Is he 45-5 as a head coach? Is that his record?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. We're saying all this, and people like rolling their eyes and telling us to go to a break. Shut your face. But I'm going to add something. When Ryan Day yesterday says out loud, and he's agitated, that other people were recruiting his players. Now, you could take that two ways. They're recruiting him off his own roster, which, if you're at Ohio State and you're playing, where are you going to go? But it was more of his recruiting class. People were recruiting his players that committed, and he went there and he said, gentleman's agreement. We used to have that. Shut your face.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer came in and said,
Right. Until they signed,
that was the Big Ten
game.
That was a Big Ten a decade ago.
Right.
And then Urban Meyer came in and said, you conference want to get better? Stop embracing the Rose Bowl as the end-all, be-all, and we got to recruit. And he came in and he said, this is how we're doing it. We're going to take a player from Michigan. We're going to get a player from Michigan State. I don't care. If they're going to pick up the phone, I'm going to give them my spiel. You know, there are times where it's also on the player that picks up the phone and listens. And I know it's the balance of we got to find a different word to commitment. You know, are you really committed?
Right.
But you're committed, but you're looking elsewhere. Someday we got to come up with a different word. But they're 17.
Do you have an open relationship?
They're 17, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I hope at that point they don't have an open relationship. They can save that for later in life when they get a hot one. But for him to say that yesterday, I was like, what? Ryan, where are we going?
Right.
You don't need to do this. But it just keeps adding to a really bad month for Ohio State. And I think will be a really bad semifinal. I don't know how in 5 weeks Ohio State fixes what ailed them. And that's toughness.
Are they broken? Well, not they. He, Ryan Day, just a little broken from this.
I think he's shook. I think that loss to Michigan did a lot to that program.
Because they thought they were just going to roll them. And it started at first like, here we go. See, they're back. They're going to run off another winning streak over Michigan. And then not only do they got beat, got their ass kicked in the fourth quarter. It's over.
You're the head coach at Ohio State. I pay you a lot of money to beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, go to the playoff. 2 or 3 I'll take. I'd like to have all 3.
2 years in a row, you have not been at Lucas Oil Stadium too because of your rival. The words yesterday, again, with what was kind of a weird recruiting cycle, especially that last month, and not all of it had to do with 2023 recruits too, as we talked about the Dylan Raiola decommit too. But I don't expect Ohio State, schools like that, whoever is representing them as a head coach, to go there. Because with every recruiting loss that you have 10 wins. So to me, that is you're trying to create some type of sympathy when, I'm sorry, no one's going to give that to you. And going back to your point about all of a sudden we're back to the old days of the lockstep, everybody, gentleman's agreement. We know the unspoken rules. When the hell has that existed? Like, when the hell has that existed in all of college football? Not even in the Big Ten. Come on, man. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna feel bad for you.
So the only sport that it doesn't is basketball. You very rarely see in college basketball recruiting flips. Usually, and even
that's a good point.
Once a kid commits in basketball, most people completely back off.
That's a good point.
Unless the kid opens up his commitment and decommits. I don't know that that's a gentleman's agreement. And I don't know the behind the scenes, but it's, if a kid commits to a school in basketball, usually everybody stops recruiting him.
Well, and remember,
and nobody stops recruiting in college football.
The narrative of college basketball too, when it comes to recruiting. Oh, it's slimy. The underground. Yet That's a good point. I mean, I as you mentioned that, I'm trying to think like, okay, there's got to be an example that I can immediately go to, and I can't. I really can't. So it's a good point.
And it may also be a little bit different because a lot of the college basketball commitments are in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
They're, out of your season. Where more in college football, there's still a large portion of your season that's going on that you get commitments. I don't know, that might have, little or nothing to do with it, but you don't see it in basketball. You don't see other teams recruiting others' commitments. I mean, maybe it existed in the old days of the Big Ten, but Urban Meyer changed that, and you took over for Urban Meyer, so you should know good and well that you never stop recruiting, and you're always recruiting. But he also did something yesterday that, again, this is a Matt Rule. PJ Fleck did it. Some other coaches around the country. Subtly, they said, we got issues in this sport. NIL, tampering. I've heard more little passive-aggressive comments about tampering with the portal than you've heard since the portal came into existence. And what's going to change to stop that?
It was a big difference when Nick Saban talked about Jimbo Fisher buying his team, because I know I did. I kind of laughed about that, saying, Nick, if it's available to you, why don't you do that? And I get it. Nick doesn't need to. And there's a little, poke in the bear, a little rivalry. Okay, fine. Well, you get into tampering. Those are two completely different things. You talk about buying a team, and you talk about tampering. You talked about, like Matt Rule brought up yesterday, of calling your current players on the roster and saying, hey, if you enter the transfer portal, this is what awaits you. Now that's a problem. That's a big difference between a coach claiming a coach bought his team as opposed to tampering.
And who's to say it's not going to get worse, because that's where we're headed.
Hey, I don't blame Matt Campbell. I don't blame Jim Harbaugh. You look at a place like Nebraska and the head coach gets fired. You have a previous relationship. Why not?
Yep.
Why not? Until the NCAA says, okay, you can't do this, this, and this. It's all
season.
Right.
It's all fair.
That's the thing. I don't blame the coaches as much as I do the zero guardrails that exist with this.
Well, and then remember, the mom and dad or the kid have to pick up the phone. It's pretty easy to say, or at least the adult in the room go, no, we're committed. We're gonna stick with this. Thanks, but no thanks.
Right. That's the key of it, is the adults in the room, even if the.
But yesterday, that was the first time that multiple Power 5 coaches started to pull back the curtain on what's going on with the portal, and look at Michigan. Michigan's not the first that's been thrown under with Ernest Hausman. Look at with Braylon Allen. We'll see what happens with the new director of the NCAA, the governor from Massachusetts. This is on his plate right away. And would it take an Alabama or a Georgia feeling like one of their players was being tampered with because they're the big boys to get this to have any guardrail?
Yeah. Greg Sankey needs to speak about it.
Well, look at that. I mean, their own conference. They're poaching off each other's roster.
Greg stepping.
But you have a conference also where you have some personalities that would not be afraid to not just go passive aggressive. They would go all in. And
they'll accuse.
And saying, Hugh Freeze, get away from my place.
Absolutely. They'll name names.
Last hour is coming up on a Thursday at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From LeBurton, AC Heating, Plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have one accident to report that has 2 left lanes blocked along westbound Dodge near 120th Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to 9680, and you can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a bit of a slowdown from 60th to 42nd. Then along L Street, be prepared for a bit of a delay from the I-80 ramps all the way to 79th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Celebrating the holidays without giving gift cards from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is just, well, wrong. Seriously, how could you even consider not giving Oscar's Pizza and celebrated char-buffed wings, especially with their Thai chili bourbon wing sauce? Spend time with your family with Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill Pizza and Wings. And give your friends and extended family gift cards from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. 173rd and West Center Road for dine-in and takeout, and 162nd and Maple for takeout.
Creighton Sports Update. Creighton men's basketball is back at CHI Health Center tomorrow as they host the Butler Bulldogs. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Limited tickets are available online at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus Butler tomorrow at 7. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
$16.20 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Tonight, the Blue Jays are back at home as they open up the Big East home schedule against the Butler Bulldogs. Robbie Lula pregame coverage begins at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 7. The Creighton Blue Jays, tonight on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Isn't this the theme to Mad Men?
No.
No, it's not.
Sublime from the LBC.
Thanks from Sublime, but I was just listening to the first little
Yeah,
riff.
yeah.
Trying to put those warmer thoughts in everyone's head today.
A glass of scotch in your office, Mad Men, that would also. It warms the soul. It's going to be a good glass of scotch. No, now I know what you mean. The beginning of it, yeah. Never thought of summertime in connection with Mad Men, but now I get that.
This has been I would say an A day for Jimmy on the music.
Yeah. Good themes.
Sprinkle a little here, a little there. Maybe tomorrow we'll have a little more.
Warmth is a state of mind.
Why don't we just go all Bob Seger Christmas Carol? Oh, Bob Seger, little drummer boy tomorrow.
I'm all for it.
Are you looking forward to Christmas music?
Bob Seger?
No. I'm
Bob
not.
Seger?
No. I'm saying you go the.
I'm here for the Bob Seger.
I'm sure I got a Beach Boys Christmas CD somewhere. Everybody goes the simple Mariah Carey.
Yes,
I never
too much.
Nope.
fine. I mean, I hear it, and you're like, okay, yep, it's that time of the year. But then after that little moment, you're like, okay,
We have other
Mariah
stations
Carey,
in the
Bruce
building if you want.
Springsteen. So you should go with.
I'll give you Bruce.
All right. I expect it tomorrow. I'll be here early.
Eagles. I get Eagles. What's the actual title?
Hotel California.
No. It's their
Well, that's a
song.
Christmas song.
It's their Christmas song. Please come home for Christmas. The Eagles.
Yeah.
Can I request that?
You
tomorrow?
can request
Can I
that,
put that in the hopper?
Please come home for Christmas. Good one. Seems like a depressing. Christmas
Ah,
song.
bells will be ring.
Oh.
You know it.
Well, I do now after whatever you just came out of your mouth.
Yeah, it'd help you.
Ask us anything, which will be a good lead-in coming up at the bottom of the hour. A couple of things, little tidbits left over from Matt Rule yesterday. He said the right things when he made it clear that this is his team. It's not partially Scott's team. It's not Trev's team. It's his team. Accountability is going to be a lot better, like internal accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But they also talked a lot about it in-state. When you have 8 in-state players sign, I mean, cooking with some peanut oil. And it's only going to keep going. Statewide. I mean, Lincoln, Omaha, and elsewhere. One that said, I'm staying home, was Malachi Coleman. Do you think that Malachi Coleman was ever out?
Yes. Initially, on the decommitment, I don't think that there was a feel that he was coming back. Initially. Now, I don't know how long that lasted.
See, I don't think he was ever out.
Really?
Not even when Dion entered the room?
I just think...
Not literally.
Hey, I'm a 17-year-old kid. I'd be intrigued.
100%, yeah.
I'd want to go.
I get it.
You get to do this once in your life. Go experience it. But then ask yourself, what do I want to do with my football career? And what do I want to do post-football? And what's the best place for me? So I don't think that he was ever out. Now, remember, he decommitted publicly the day before Matt Rule came to meet him. And I know why he did. And he was tight with Mickey. That was a mentor. So he just needed, I mean, you're a young kid. You're trying to figure everything out. Things are moving pretty quick. I don't know people. All he needed was a visit by a guy that he had just met to say, this is the program that gives you stability. We're making you a priority. Now, the whole thing with Malachi is this is over now. Okay? This is done. Now it's time to go play football when you show up in June.
Yeah.
Because he's not an early enrollee because he wants to run track. All of this is over now. This fun stuff, that we're done. Now it's time to go play football. I think he will realize that. He used the word, I want to be a hero. A lot of pressure on the kid.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I bet if we polled people, they would, and I said 2 years from now, what will be a Malachi Coleman? We're going to get a lot of portal. He may not be on the field in 2 years, even though he's like he fits under the category of a guy that's got a hit in this class. I mean, you take somebody with that athleticism and you find a spot for them and find a role for them. But I don't think he was ever out. I just think he needed to had his feet put back on the ground by an adult that said, it's going to be okay. And this is what I can do for you. And of course, this is what you can do at our place. So I understand the dabbling. So
I do too.
I don't think he was ever out. I think that was a good reminder by a new staff that it's going to be okay.
And you kind of partially answered a question that I would bring up too. And that is, if you need to get an idea of what the new staff is going to be like, but how they're going to feel about you, do you necessarily need to decommit? Or is there part of you feels like if you decommit, you're back on their priority list, or you're going to find out if you're on their priority list?
That's a fair question because he likes to play those games.
And that's what I was curious about.
Again, those games are over now.
Right.
Time to play football. Okay, thank God. So he well versed in how to play the game and the attention game and all of that stuff. But Matt Rule doesn't strike me as a guy that is going to play that game. We're going to tell you what we can offer for you, what we can be, and then we're going to let it go. I'm not going to chase you around the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Matt Rule even talked about playing games when it comes to recruiting and not being about that. But the part that you kind of answered, if your intention is to sort of see what else is out there on top of how this new staff is going to recruit me, well, it's probably best serves you to decommit so you have that opportunity to do so, because then it looks like, okay, you're committed, but you're not because you're taking other visits. So I do understand both sides of it. But yeah, just the curiosity of me was, did you need to see where you stood on their priority list by decommitting? Was that the reason behind it? And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Because I don't think you necessarily have to decommit to find that out, unless you feel like if you decommit, well, then that's seen as a major recruit that is not in on this new staff yet, but you can win me over. So win me over.
I think Nebraska was meat and potatoes approach, and Malachi wanted a little Hollywood. Now it's over. So now it's on to the most important part is you're playing football. Okay. And I've said this with him. I don't necessarily worry about Saturday. Remember, he's walking into a position group that there's a lot of opportunities at wide receiver in 23. And I'll tell you what, Dylan Raiola's coming to Nebraska, and you're a wide receiver in 23. You don't think some wide receivers in the class of 24 are going to want to come and play with Dylan Raiola?
Oh, yeah.
Got to get your stuff together to be on the football field so that you're not going to be pushed off of wide receiver island.
Absolutely.
I don't worry about him on Saturday. My worry is Monday through Friday, putting in the work to get to the consistent work that's going to take you to places you've not been before so that you can get to Saturday. Don't worry about him on Saturday.
Yeah.
I worry about Monday through Friday and the lead up to play the game and the preparation and all of that stuff. I don't think he's going to be, laissez-faire. Hey, it's all over now. I'm here.
Right.
But that's going to be something that's going to be a daily thing that he's going to have to overcome. There's another thing about the in-state. And they are true that they want to keep the best in-state players home. So right now, this is me, December 22nd, the top 3 priorities to keep in-state in the class of 24. Caleb Benning. I mean, I've watched Caleb since he was a little kid running in the hallway out here. And Damon got scolded for bringing his kids to work. By the way, almost a deal breaker. Damon almost quit one day because I told me, this former GM here said, hey, you can't bring your kids to work. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, it was a long story.
Oh,
that's beside the point. But Caleb's an incredible football player. Okay, I love him at safety. He's the number 1 priority for Nebraska to keep in state. Everybody knows the backstory but he's the number 1 guy. Carter Nelson from Ainsworth, position of need. I think he can grow into a role. He's a guy to keep. And then I'm going to give you another one. These are my top 3 players to keep in state. Is Isaiah McMorris at Bellevue West. Davon Hall is hardly talked about. But Davon Hall, for the last 2 years, got all the recruiting attention. Davon Hall still had a really good year with Danny Kaelin throwing the football. Isaiah McMorris had an incredible season after transferring from Millard North. I think Isaiah McMorris has a lot more to go, a lot more that he can do, which gets me excited. Those are the 3 guys that I would put right now that are priorities to keep in state. Another thing that Rule said yesterday about in-state guys. Now, he's a special teams guy, the very happy Ed Foley, who does not live down in a van down by the river. He actually lives in a hotel room right off of 9th Street. I will do my impersonation of Ed Foley now at Nebraska. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I will say that tomorrow. So Ed Foley says, you know what? People come into the state and they've taken our players. I'm not going to let that happen again. If you give people a reason in state to stay, they will. But you got to win. And I'm glad he said that yesterday. You got to win football games. Okay? You got to start young where the kids that are growing up, that their mom and dad are Nebraska fans, but they look and go, man, Mom, Nebraska's not very good.
Yeah.
Well, you got to start winning. And those kids are like, hey, give me a reason to go to games with my mom and dad. Go to school there. Play football there. That's easy. Win. don't make it complicated. Don't say, hey, just because we're Nebraska. Give people a reason.
Right.
A reason to commit to your program that are in state, a reason to support your program, a reason as a youngster to say, Nebraska's cool again. But Matt Rule might have said the thing that got me the most excited about yesterday in-state recruiting. And you know my passion for high school football in this state.
Mm-hmm.
He said something that has bugged the crap out of me for multiple coaching staffs. You take for granted the Nebraska kid that might be a fringe kid, that you look at his measurables instead of watching him play in person. And you go, well, he's not big enough. He doesn't run a fast enough 40. Coach, what do your eyes say when you go watch him play?
Right.
Can the kid play? Don't look that he's a 6'1" guard.
Mm-hmm.
Can he play football? And are you good enough to project with your eyes? Matt Rule said yesterday, and this should have perked up everybody's ears around the state that are in the sport, is we're going to recruit kids in state, and we're not just going to say, hey, can you walk on?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm paraphrasing a little bit from what he said, but that has been the general feeling. It's shifted a little bit in the last couple of years, but Nebraska doesn't want to devote a scholarship to a good player in state, a good player, not a great player, but a good player.
Yeah.
They just want to convince them to walk on.
Mm-hmm.
But that kid gets a scholarship to K-State or to Iowa or to Iowa State. Rule said, we're not just going to say, hey, can you walk on? If you're good enough, you're going to get a scholarship offer. Mm-hmm. And I went, ding, ding, ding. Somebody has been in your ear about in-state recruiting here,
yeah.
and that was one of the first things addressed. Somebody's been in the ear of Trev. Trev got in the ear of Matt Rule.
Yeah.
To say that kind of stuff. Because somebody that's new here for 3 weeks doesn't know the backstory of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was one of among the things that really perked me up yesterday when he talked about in-state and he said, we're not just going to try and force them into being a walk-on. If they're good enough, we're going to get them a scholarship.
Yeah. I like that he even added in a lot of the ability to be a part of like winning programs, and when you separate the measurables and then you just kind of watch somebody that is successfully competing and you can tell there's something there to them. Because a lot of us, I mean, hell, I do it a lot too. You get hung up on the measurables. You get hung up on that individual, what he can be, what he can project to be. But then you forget to maybe watch the games or the programs that they're a part of. And competing's one thing, but having the confidence, being around success too. I mean, to me, all of that matters. And so if you are identifying all of that, I feel like you have an opportunity to get the better of the kids.
And I mean, look, there were only 4 walk-ons announced yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Nebraska yesterday added 31 to their roster. The 21 in the class, 6 portals, 4 walk-ons.
Tight end from Bennington.
Tight end from Bellevue West.
Dema and Bellevue West. Who's
Cole Ballard.
Thank you.
Who Cole Ballard probably measurables. You go, man, that guy's awful. That guy's not very tall, not very big. He can play football.
Mm-hmm.
Just go watch him play in Guy Rosenberg's system. So I like that he said we're just not going to steer them towards a walk-on opportunity.
Yeah.
If they're good enough, we're going to give them a scholarship.
Burrs talked about this 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about recruiting, and people fall in love with the reach. He was talking about linemen, long reach, long arms, and this. And he says, go get football players. And then he gave actual examples of guys he played with that everybody knew. And you think, oh, yeah, that guy turned out pretty good.
So I think Evan Cooper is going to be a really good, he's going to have a nice room with the defensive backs in 23. But I think he's going to be a really good recruiter because I can see what he's doing. We do run into this when we talk about a staff and we say, man, they're a good recruiter. But do we have visible results?
Yeah.
Like I can honestly say in 3 weeks, Evan Cooper has shown visible results that he could be a good recruiter. But I also think he does something that you're going to have to adjust to, that we've all clamored for. They don't look at measurables. They look at output, and they forward think with their eyes of, I don't care what his star is. Don't tell me if he's a 4-star or a 2-star. When I turn on the film, can he play football? And then my eyes are going to say, answer that question. And then my eyes, because I'm uber confident, are going to say, where he's at right now, what does he look like in a college program with everything at his disposal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Evan Cooper strikes me, the guys that he went after in this cycle of, I don't care about the measurables. I don't. If I see that you can play football, we're going to make sure that it's our job to accumulate as many good football players as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's a change that we've all wanted, that I think we kind of started to see. But watch for Evan Cooper. You're going to see visible results. We got to get past he's just a good recruiter because look at all the guys that came from Georgia or Ohio.
Right.
We now have to see visible results. I believe that we will see that with Evan Cooper as he evolves into, DB coach and a recruiter of, some important areas. All right. Ask Us Anything is coming up next. We got Brian Edwards as well. Last 30 minutes of a Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
As you know, it is very, very cold out there. And one of the great things about having one of the many great options, the Mazda SUVs, are the heated steering wheels, the heated seats. You're going to love that. And at Woodhouse Mazda, during the final days of the Season of Inspiration event, you can get your new Mazda, and the first year of maintenance is on them. Plus, make no payments for 90 days on any new or certified pre-owned Mazda when financed through Mazda Financial Services. Shop the Omaha's Metro Mazda dealer, and that is Woodhouse Mazda. You can shop their inventory, apply for financing, and even schedule service appointments at woodhousemazda.com or woodhouseplacemazda.com, especially if you don't want to leave the house like a day like this. Or when it gets a little nicer out, feel free to visit them off Bellevue, Highway 75 and Chandler Road, and Woodhouse Mazda Place, Millard off 144th and Giles Road. You won't find a more streamlined sales process with a friendly and knowledgeable staff and no pressure sales. It's final days of the Season of Inspiration event, so stop in or shop online at Find That Mazda vehicle for you. Happy holidays from everyone at Woodhouse Mazda and the Woodhouse Auto family, a drive worth experiencing.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Matt Rule has quote tweeted himself and did a king hat. What's a king hat called? Josh,
it's a crown.
What's a crown and a flame, a fire emoji. Are you sure that's what it is? A crown, not a king hat.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Windy and extremely cold Thursday. Wind chill warning remains in effect throughout the day. Watch out for areas of blowing snow with northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. Afternoon highs will stay below zero with wind chills 30 to 40 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
Hello, friends. Kent Pavelka wishing everyone happy holidays and best wishes for the new year from John Higgins Weather Guard. You know, we're fortunate to live in such a great community with a strong economy, good schools, and public service, along with a high level of health care and simply a great way of life. We appreciate everyone who's done business with us, and we look forward to meeting new customers in the new year. Happy holidays from your fans, the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard, America's leading installer of Da Vinci roofs.
Funplex has a limited time offer that'll deck your halls. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Save big through Christmas and think warm thoughts as you and yours dream about sun, fun, sliding and chilling for summer of 23. Not only will you be saving $45 off the regular price, but if you're doing your holiday math, 3 visits and the pass pays for itself. Plus, there's always special offers to season pass holders on concessions, merch, and more. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Now through Christmas at fun-plex.com.
Tonight, the Blue Jays are back at home as they open up the Big East home schedule against the Butler Bulldogs. Ravi Lula pregame coverage begins at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 7. The Creighton Blue Jays, tonight on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $20.10 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/career. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Give gifts from Greenberg's and receive a Shields gift card worth up to $500. Choose from stunning diamond engagement rings, anniversary rings, pendants, earrings, and more. It will be a perfect gift for both of you. Make a $500 purchase and receive a $50 Shields gift card. $1,000, get a $100 gift card. $2,000, get a $300 gift card. $3,000, get a $500 gift card. Hurry into Greenberg's for this limited time holiday offer. Westroads Mall.
Celebrating the holidays without giving gift cards from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is just, well, wrong. Seriously, how could you even consider not giving Oscar's Pizza and celebrated char-buffed wings, especially with their Thai chili bourbon wing sauce? Spend time with your family with Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill pizza and wings. And give your friends and extended family gift cards from Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road for dine-in and takeout, and 162nd and Maple for takeout.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Sharp. Join me for We Got a Podcast driven by Woodhouse Auto Family. We get more in depth, have a guest or two, and drop nuggets of info you haven't heard anywhere else. Join us for We Got a Podcast driven by Woodhouse Auto Family every Friday in the show page on 1620thezone.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Now officially the starter against the Cowboys this weekend on Saturday's game between Philadelphia and Dallas. Jalen Hurts going to rest his shoulder. That game will be warm because it's indoors. And for everybody that's playing outside, everybody has their own way of figuring out as an NFL player, or anybody that plays outside or looks outside. But football, you know how you deal with the cold? I will tell you the biggest thing I would hate playing football outdoors is that the football is like a rock. There's a reason why Tom Brady in cold weather wanted the footballs deflated. The football in cold weather is difficult to throw. I mean, that thing is, I can't imagine being a snapper, you know, a center, long snapper, or just snapping the ball in the shotgun. I mean, the football is like a...
The weather today, very similar, obviously, to the Ice Bowl and then the 81 AFC Championship, the Freezer Bowl, the Chargers-Bengals game. So just to give people the kind of idea of what it is. And you basically are snapping and throwing a rock.
You know what I've always found interesting in the cold days, in the very cold weather ones, and I think I remember hearing Damon talking about this before the Wisconsin game, and that is the hydration element. Like, do you want water when it's like 0 degrees outside? But it's even more important. Like, to me, that would be like the eternal struggle of like, I'm not thirsty. Well, you got to drink even more than what you would on like a 60-degree day. That would suck, but you have to do it.
All right, time for Ask Us Anything. Your chance to win a gift card to Oscar's Pizza and Grill, 173rd and Center, Lakeside Plaza. That gives you all the entertainment right there indoors, or takeout only on 162nd and Maple. The final one before Christmas. These better be good, Jimmy.
I hope so. Although, I mean, the porn one last week, that's hard to top. But we issued the gauntlet.
Nick will tell you that really porn is really tough to top.
Yeah.
At any time. It doesn't matter if it's on a segment or in person.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's up there.
Yeah.
All right.
You get no argument out of me on that one. No.
Well, I mean, sort of, kind of piggybacking, but not really.
Oh boy, really? We're gonna lead back up.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, yeah, but you know what? You get where the mind is.
Yeah.
From Chase, would you rather forget to wear pants to work every single day or wake up every 30 minutes when you sleep at night?
Oh. So I got to forget to wear pants every day?
Every day. Today would suck.
I know this is probably not the spirit of the game, but can I still wear like my undergarments?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I
don't
thought you
think-
were going to say shorts.
I
I
don't
was
think
ready
you-
to
I
just
don't think-
poo-poo that
I don't
right
think you're
away.
nude.
Yeah, okay. I'd rather do that. Forget pants because waking up every 30 minutes, no.
You'd never sleep.
Need my sleep, man.
I'm getting old, so I'm starting to wake up a little bit more to go to the bathroom at night. I might have something wrong.
Oh no, come on, man. Take care of that.
I don't go. I don't. I probably sleep. Maybe I can get 4 straight hours uninterrupted.
That's not bad though.
But I got good legs. I would probably go no pants. I do, man. You got to see my calves. My calves are like if you're walking behind me and you see my calves and you don't look at any other part of me, you're like that guy is like a marathon runner.
Could I take like a billy club to it and the billy club would break?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very proud of my my calves.
I have chicken legs. I do.
It's my
genetics.
My elliptical and my walking and running.
Good for you.
Somehow it doesn't affect the rest of your body. I got to work on that.
But you got the calves.
That a baby.
All right.
I would kill to have Gary's calves.
And there we have our name for our... Anyway, if there was a Christmas movie edition of a Royal Rumble, which of the following characters would win? You got 6 choices here. 1, the one and only Clark Griswold. 2, Kevin McAllister. 3, Kevin McAllister's Forgetful Mom. 4, George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life. 5, The Grinch. Or 6, Buddy the Elf, who we discussed earlier.
Kevin McAllister. Easy.
But you remember, he got him in the ring, though, so he can't be as crafty.
Yeah, but I feel like he thinks on the fly. Diabolical. You're right. You're probably more in the long game with Kevin McAllister, but I think the way his mind works, it's adaptable. So I do feel like that diabolic nature can also work in quicker moments too. So I'm still going with Kevin McAllister. I think he's always just 1 or 2 steps ahead.
But look at that. We don't have the most athletic people here.
No.
But I would say in a Royal Rumble, I would go with the Grinch.
Just the overall hate in his heart, that rage.
Yeah.
He didn't hate Christmas. He just hated people.
And you're dealing with people there. So.
And the whole goal of Grinch is to spoil the pleasure of others. So you would upend the Royal Rumble, take out 5 people, go Big John Stud leg drop to finish it off, and George Bailey would be.
I always felt when the wet bandits or sticky bandits, when they kind of foiled Kevin McAllister's little trap, he could typically think on the fly. Now, that's also when he would get apprehended by the guys too. So
I'm just thinking he's going to be in the squared circle.
Yeah.
So he can't.
Limited space.
Yeah, he probably doesn't have a lot of things at his exposure unless he's hiding them in his trunks.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still going to roll with him, though. That mind, the way that mind works, I want to see what it does in more of a confined space.
I mean, I always thought if Goodfellas or Casino Joe Pesci had been in Home Alone, that movie would have been over in 5 minutes. Great soundtrack.
So true.
One song. Done.
So true.
Did they have a director's cut where they can do the Joe
Have
Pesci?
Scorsese do Home Alone. You'll be out of there in about 4.5 minutes. A lot of blood.
Things turn bad.
Awesome
Things
music.
turn bad.
All right. Last question. I mean, speaking of maybe Joe Pesci, actually how he met his fate in Casino. Happy holidays, fellas, from Declan. Armed with only a lead pipe, what fight would you have a better chance of winning? You versus 15 rats or you versus 1 badger? I'm guessing it's the animal and not a random athlete from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Ooh. Gosh, rats.
Or Bucky.
We can use Bucky as this one?
I mean, you can, but I mean...
Well, I'll take a lead pipe versus a mascot any day, but I feel like I'm going to play the numbers game. I feel like I know Badgers are ferocious, but I feel like if you're giving me 1 versus 15, I'm going to take the one-on-one battle with the lead pipe. I think I can make that a winner.
As someone who won a lot of tokens / tickets at Showbiz Pizza Place when I was a kid.
Nice Showbiz. There you go.
I was like a champion whack-a-mole. And I would think with a lead pipe and 15 rats, bam, 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 bam. Whack-a-mole, I was, if there was a pro whack-a-mole league, I would try and find a way to enter it. I think it really helped. I think it helped my hand-eye coordination.
There should be, actually. I'm surprised there's not.
Pro whack-a-mole, midget wrestling. I mean, we got it all covered.
Mm-hmm. So what about the badger?
Has whack-a-mole been canceled? Like by the
people who cancel stuff.
It's just it is not kind of moles. So whack-a-mole has been kicked out of arcades.
They're not endangered or anything. So it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be overly sensitive about moles.
Certain parts of the country.
They ruin yards.
Not here.
Moles, voles.
Yeah, I was pretty good at whack-a-mole.
Did you? Were there people like your friends were jealous of you?
I don't know that I would have
Take it to that
jealousy. People would be amazed at my ability to guess when the mole was coming out of the hole.
Could you sell out a modest size arena with your whack-a-mole ability?
Well, I'd have to add to it. I have to have some flair. Like the outfit. I'd look like Elvis playing whack-a-mole.
Big Ern McCracken.
And put on a presentation.
Yeah.
Put on a show, man.
But I think that was one of my successful games at Showbiz Pizza Place was whack-a-mole. So I would go with the 15 rats.
I just love that you went with Showbiz and not Chuck E. Cheese because it's always been Showbiz to me as well.
Not allowed to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, God.
Well, at least be within 200 yards.
Oh, boy. Gosh, dang it.
We are finding out a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
Very disappointed in you, too. I just dropped a line from a
Oh, I totally know what it is. From Hangover.
Yeah.
That's why I said,
Jimmy,
oh, boy.
Jimmy thinks I'm serious.
I was hoping you were serious. I knew it was from Hangover. It was just, please be serious. Please be serious.
I'm not supposed to be here.
I mean, of course, everybody went to Showbiz Pizza Place or Chuck E. Cheese for the pizza.
Always.
No. I don't even remember the pizza being that good.
Pizza was great.
It was the games.
Now the Showbiz Pizza
for the games.
Showbiz pizza wasn't bad.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad, but I definitely was.
I think the Chuck E. Cheese pizza was a little.
My 4th birthday party was at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Showbiz, the atmosphere, man. The games.
Oh, and
the fact that they served pizza was just a bonus.
And you got the little show.
Mm-hmm.
The show was,
Looking back,
you could have DJ'd the show.
Oh, I would have. If I only would have known. I could have. Wait, what kind of show do they have now?
I mean, you got to keep up with the times.
You guys talk about my previous DJing days. I don't know what kind of show Chuck E. Cheese now has. Is there like an adult version?
You would say, "Here comes Billy Bob."
Right.
And look at Billy Bob is with fats today.
Stand by whiskers.
Hey, here we go, all you ladies out there. Get ready. Well, you're hanging out there with your kids and you have custody this weekend. We've got Duke LaRue coming to the stage. Hey, for all you single fathers out there, wait till you see what Mitzi Mozzarella is going to give to you today.
On a MILF Monday.
Excuse me?
Make it rain with tokens? Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Savit for Ted and Wally's. We want to wish you a happy holidays. You know, December can be tough sometimes because you got to buy presents. You don't always get the size right. You don't always get the color right. You know what the perfect gift is? It's ice cream. You know why? Because the size is never going to be wrong. The color's not going to be wrong because it's ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream and you'll love it as well. Whether it is a gift card or actually giving a pint or a half a gallon, either way, it makes a perfect stocking stuffer. And you can order to go. Pint, quart, half gallons. It's a great treat over the holiday or for a holiday party as well. Over 3,000 flavors to choose from, and it's a different flavor every day. All you have to do is go on your social media accounts, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, and they will post the daily flavors, and they are amazing. And it's every kind of ice cream you could possibly imagine. It's over 35 years of nostalgia, and it's done the old-fashioned way. Made in 100-year-old Ice Mountain freezers. It's Ted and Wally's. Get some for a gift today.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Santa says early bird gift cards are perfect for holiday gift giving. Get to Early Bird Brunch in the Blackstone District, Shadow Lake Town Center, or Regency to buy your gift cards. Get $10 free when you spend $50 or $25 free with a $100 gift card purchase. Early Bird, not your everyday brunch, every day. Early Bird offers a variety of pancakes, benedicts, omelets, and a full breakfast cocktail menu. For more info, click earlybirdbrunch.com. Early Bird Brunch, where the early bird gets the pancake and the holiday gift card.
This week, Zone has 5 great deals half off. That's right. Each day this week, we'll have a new deal half off that is perfect for those last-minute gift ideas. You'll find deals from Early Bird, Le Voltaire, Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream, Shug's Comfort Food and Palm Beach Tan, all for half off. Make sure to log on at 9 a.m. each day to see what deal we have available, because these half-off deals will go fast. Head to 1620thezone.com and click deals now.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
This is really cool. We were going to do this segment. Brian was going to be in person here in Omaha, and then he found out that it's currently 14 below outside. So he is...
That's the high.
The senior handicapper from Vegas Insider is Brian Edwards. Yeah. What's the coldest you've ever what's the coldest temperature you've ever been in?
You know, it was when I was a kid in the 80s, but we my dad and I were at the SEC basketball tournament in Lexington, Kentucky, and we got snowed in. It was so great. So I mean, we were snowed in, so we were probably there a whole week. And I was missing school like Monday, Tuesday, and we're just living in the hotel, room service, the whole deal. It's great. But if it makes you feel better, it's supposed to get in the single digits where I live in Northwest Florida on Christmas Day, and it's going to be getting into the 20s, I think, starting tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Ouch! The people out on the beach there at Fort Walton Beach will be coming inside. Hey, let's start with the NFL. This is an interesting game because the way the Niners are playing and the Commanders off their loss against the Giants the other night, they got to go on the road. Niners are a touchdown favorite who are cruising toward the nice seed in the playoffs. Commodores trying to stay in the postseason hunt. Who do you like here with the Niners getting a touchdown at home?
I love San Francisco. It's my favorite play of the week. For those that do teasers, I think it's an automatic in a teaser as well, or a money line parlay. They've won 7 in a row, going 6-1 against the spread. So 5 of those 7 wins have been by 13 or more, and one of them that was fewer than that was a win by 8 at Seattle on a short week with Purdy, not practicing all week with the oblique injury. Now San Fran has had extra rest. Purdy, 4 touchdown passes without an interception in 2 starts. And Washington, like you said, they played the late night game on Sunday night. It's a short week for a Saturday game. You got to fly all the way across the country. So I would have loved San Fran -7 anyway, but the spot scenarios make it, even more so. So love San Fran.
Brian, two teams that still have a playoff pulse, and the Lions on a 3-game winning streak. Lions traveling to Carolina, one of the actual warmer venues this weekend amongst the slate. Right now, the Lions come in as a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, when I'm in, and probably to a fault, when a team is good to me like this, I just keep riding them until they bump me off. I don't know how many weeks in a row I've been on the Lions, but it's a lot. They're on a 7-0 ATS run, 6 outright wins in that 7-game stretch. The only loss by 3 to Buffalo, where they easily covered. The defense is playing so much better. They've only given up 14, 23, and 17 in the last 3 weeks, and they've been one of the best offenses in the NFL all year. Carolina's only 4-4, but straight up and against the spread at home. I'm going to ride this Lions team. Maybe I'm riding them 1 week too many because, it is a back-to-back road spot, but they got the hot hand. I'm going to stick with them.
Hey, their defense has improved. Leading this to win of 6 of 7. I don't know that Sam Darnold with, I think his low average depth of target should be difficult to handle. Now, speaking of offense, I don't know how anybody can back the Patriots offense, and they step up in class because they're playing the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals, who on the road are a field goal favorite, but you've got some advice to maybe increase from 3 to 3.5. Is that right?
Yeah, so I bought the half point from 3.5 to 3. As long as you can do that at minus 130 juice or cheaper, I advise that. Now, if they're trying to take minus 140 or minus 150 from you, that just don't worry about it. Just roll with a minus 3.5. Again, I might be sticking with the Bengals 1 week too many. It is a back-to-back road situation, which is usually a red flag. But I think that their current form, like an 11-1 against the spread run with 10 outright wins in that 12-game stretch, I think that outweighs the back-to-back road scenario. And New England, that's just tough of a beat as you're going to have last week. And I think Matt Jones hates Matt Patricia. I think that they've got chemistry issues. Belichick's the GOAT, and he's always going to be the GOAT, but he's done a terrible job with his team. I think they've got a lot of issues internally, and you see that with Mac Jones' temper tantrums and his terrible body language, which I don't know that I'm even really calling him out on it because I think Patricia's awful, and all those, wide receiver screens are so predictable. I'm going to Bengals.
I still don't know why they didn't have Mac Jones just try a Hail Mary at the end. That adds to what you just said about their offense. Let's go to bowl games.
Hey, want to get into Ole Miss and Texas Tech. Right now we're seeing that one as 3.5 Ole Miss versus Texas Tech. So which way are you leaning on that one?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to need it, but I would do, like I said, with the Bengals, by the half point to the key number of 3 if it's minus 130 or cheaper. Ole Miss, they didn't finish the season well, but there was all the Kiffin rumors going into the Egg Bowl. All that's gone. He's there. He's not going anywhere, or at least for one more year. Now, I'm not really, we're still a week away, so, there could be some late opt-outs and whatnot. But, most of their key guys are going to be back, and so I don't anticipate a lot of surprising opt-outs. And, with that being the case, I think Ole Miss is definitely the play.
Hey, this has been a tough bowl season. Teams that we think with an interim coach or opt-outs are actually doing pretty well, it appears.
Yeah, man, these bowl games are sometimes tough to figure. I had been doing well, but I was all over South Alabama last night. And at least they let me know in the first, 10 minutes of non-game, just 10 minutes of watching the game, that it was a loss. So I didn't have to hang in the whole time. But it's you just don't know what teams are going to show up. You really don't. And it's kind of just a guessing game, but hopefully I'm guessing right with Ole Miss. Now, that's not the case, though, with the CFP Final Four.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to talk between now and then. If your listeners didn't hear me a couple weeks ago, Georgia's my biggest bet of the year. Love them minus 6.5.
And I'm with you. That line hasn't moved at all. Tomorrow night, Gasparilla Bowl down in Tampa, which is a great time to be in Tampa in February when the Gasparilla Festival is going on. But this is a football game. This is a pretty even matchup. Mizzou and Wake Forest. If you look at it on paper, you got one team that rallied to get to 6-6, and Wake Forest, unfortunately, lost 4 of 5. They finished 7-5. This is an intriguing Friday night bowl game to me. How do you like Mizzou Wake Forest?
Well, I don't know if it was the first day or so after the bowls were announced and the line got posted. I got Missouri at +4. I thought that was a bad number, but I'm probably gonna come back with a little bit of Wake and hopefully hit the hedge because Dominic Lovick, Missouri's best receivers, opted out. 2 of their defensive starters have opted out. And one of their best defensive players, the transfer from Florida, Tyron Hopper, he's been injured, missed the last 2 games, and he's very iffy whether he's going to play. So I'm probably, with Hartman staying and A.T. Perry's going to play for Wake, their best receiver, I'm probably going to come back with Wake at -1 or 1.5, wherever it is right now, and hopefully hit the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really recommend Missouri at with their opt-out. So I'm not really recommending anything. I'm just kind of hedging. I'm going to hedge my bet.
Brian, wrap it up with the Military Bowl too. Duke and Central Florida, where Duke is sitting at 3.5 as the favorite against Central Florida next Wednesday.
Yeah, I got it at Pick'em. I got a good number on this one. But I still think if you can buy the half point to 3 from 3.5, and it was 3.5 at last look, I still like Duke a little bit. Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like them a good bit at Pick'em. They should be highly motivated. They had a great year. Hadn't been to a bowl in a little bit. So, I think Duke is the play on this one.
Do I dare ask about Billy Napier from the bowl game to yesterday?
Sure. So it's a good recruiting class. I mean, we only have 3 3-stars. The rest are 4-stars. I'm trusting and assuming that it's an absolute given that he brought in Graham Mertz, who hasn't actually signed yet. He's verbally committed, or he hadn't signed as of early this morning. But I assume he's bringing him in as to compete with somebody else's QB1 or just be a solid veteran backup. And I'm okay. And if that's the case, I'm great with that. I mean, he started more than 30 games. Surely he's not thinking that's going to be QB1. Surely we're thinking we're going to get Grayson McCall or a Sam Hartman or somebody else. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The Gator, chat boards, Gator Twitter is going insane over this. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's just thinking Mertz is a quality veteran backup and we're getting somebody else. If he goes in to next year without adding another QB out of the portal as if Mertz is going to be the starter or a true freshman, he's going to be gone by early November, and I'll be good with that. But hopefully that's not the case.
B, have a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and we'll talk to you ahead of the national semifinals or the national finals.
Thanks, gentlemen. Merry Christmas, guys.
You too.
That's Brian Edwards, a diehard Gator fan.
He wasn't holding back.
Well, UF kicks a field goal to keep their streak alive of not getting shut out against Oregon State Saturday in Vegas.
God, that was bad.
Yeah, and then but people are like, oh, because Napier can recruit, he'll be fine.
Yeah, then you get QB solution is one Graham Mertz.
I thought UF would be better this year, especially that opening night against Utah and Richardson taking over. We'll see. Graham Mertz starting at Florida. Yeah. All right, one more show to go before Christmas. We'll do it all again tomorrow at 6. For Nick, for Jimmy, I'm Gary. Connor is next on 1620 The Zone.